Double taps, coffee brews, we're like, here we go. I'm the broken baker, chat's coming in slow. Lawyers pace, jury sits, the room hums alive. Leaning forward, screens glowing, this is where we thrive. Stream from roll real, chat's the heartbeat, loud and clear. Trials come and go, but we stay near. Crimes up, crimes down, you're always here. Drops, lawyer jumps, tension spikes, we freeze frame, the jaw drop, chats and no yikes. Not mocking the mess, just sharing the rush. Even silence feels like a crush. We read this stream from roll real, chats the heartbeat, loud and clear. Trials come and go, but we stay near. Crimes up, crimes down, you're always here. So grab your mug, don't be late, the baker's life will set it straight.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be. And this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard Twink 69 to New Zealand. We lost power in one engine, but you can see America's favorite Texan, Sejan, yelling at a bush, which he appears to have labeled ex-wife. I bet that Zach would be yelling at a bush, not probably in New Zealand, but in Texas. And that's just because he's kind of weird. We're in the Hudson. Oh my. Hey, Sharon Loke. Side-eye. Goodmans. Yeah, please hit the like on the way in. Everyone, welcome to day 3 in the Dustin Duren case. Did he save his 4-year-old daughter from his crazy wife who was hurting her, and the only option he had was to plow her in the face with a remote hole puncher? Or did he find out that she was leaving him and he found it necessary to punch her in the head with a remote hole puncher? This is what we are here to find out. So far, I believe the most damning evidence was the crime scene investigator who said she was sitting with a blanket around her with her 1 foot elevated on a coffee table. I don't know if they've been shown pictures, because we won't see pictures like that. Because another person who was on the scene said, well, she wasn't sitting like that. But we won't know because we don't see the crime scene photos. But if she was sitting in that position, I have a hard time getting a struggle for a kid to be only solvable with deadly force. This is a I had to do it case. But so far, I don't feel we really have had any reason to believe that he had to do it, because it's, of course, the prosecution side of the story. They will do whatever they can to dissuade us of that. And on the other side, the defense, I don't think the defense have asked many great questions so far. It's been very technical, the stuff they have been asking about. So, yeah, it's... I don't know what where you're landing, but so far I believe, yeah, I think I'm at he's pretty guilty, but we need the defense to come tell us what. Why the hell won't it go full screen? I don't get away, chat. We just got the cheap seal of New Hampshire. But on the other side, the state claims that he did it because he found out that she was going to take the kids. And I don't feel they've really proven that so far. But today we are supposed to get 2 experts to testify about what we don't know. We had a day off yesterday because we're waiting for the experts. And it could be interesting. I don't care about DNA. I don't care about bullets. I don't care about hair samples, whatever else experts. I felt like day 2 was a big old waste of time just going through technical evidence. It's not contested that he shot her, so I don't know why you have to waste so much time for someone to tell you how she compared the bullets to the gun and other BS, but still said it was the right gun. No one is contesting that. He had the gun. He said he did it. For future appeals, I don't think so. Doesn't appear to be self-defense to me either. No, Jamie, are you working today, or do you want a link? It's Friday, so I know you are busy. Not sure how we got to day 3 in this case. By finishing day 1 and 2. But it's the sidebar case. Every single time there's a new witness, they need a sidebar. Every time there's anything, they're running up to the judge's table. Maybe it's something they do up there, kind of like they did with Aunt Bev, where they didn't want to talk in front of court. Another thing, just to give you the daily news out of Massachusetts, crusty old panties potentially, maybe, have been indicted in a new case. You can't really see this, but they're talking about ordering dinner. No, I can't. Let me do this. This one. As you can see, Catherine E. Peter, defendant, charge 1, felony, witness, juror, police, court official, intimidation. So Krusty Panties, who is already being charged with witness intimidation in the, I'm always going to get this one, not Lauren. Yeah, Lauren Mullins. No, that's the other one we covered. Murphy, the Murphy case. She's already in a court battle over this one. Allegedly, she has been arraigned on October 8th. In this case, it's a little hard to find it in the system because there's no court number on it. Of course, the Wondermod and the kid is trying to look into it, see what we can find on it. But so far, all they have been able to find is this criminal case open, filed 17th of September. Next event, the 12th of November. This is so far what we can find. But we hope this is the new, because the rumor came out yesterday that Krusty O'Panties had been charged in a new case. And as far as the Wondermod and the kid can figure out, it's a new witness harassment case against Mary Backwell, who's also one of the free Karen readers, Lauren Murray. Yeah, that's I get all my Laurens messed up. Funny enough, that phone number is not registered to Michael Morrissey because, again, this sleuth in the background looked at it. It's a number registered to someone in Florida, but apparently the voicemail says it's Michael Morrissey. That's a bit weird. I haven't said F-bomb yet. Nick is covering a trial that could get interesting with a co-defendant but woman on trial for criminal. Yes, I'm not going to cover that trial. That started yesterday. We are in the middle of a trial, so I'm not going to switch trials for that one. That's the great thing about having multiple law tubers. You can choose what case you want to watch. We're always happy if you want to watch one of ours. If you want to go watch one of my great colleagues, I think you should do it because most of them are good, some of them are great, and a very few is very great. But all of them is way better than I am. It might be Thursday, but Lady Fed is out eating with some friends, so I open a new bottle of Valente Tertiaire Cognac. It's a wonderful blend of eau de vie, of which the youngest is aged 30 years. Well, it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Fedorowski, so get your drunk on. YouTube just loves to freeze up. Paraphrase, I will be eating at a buffet for lunch if I can find one, and my company won't be speaking English. Oh my. Are you going to Chinatown and chow down, if you know what I mean? Have a little kitty on your lips? Should we alert your wife? Thank you, Brandon. And enjoy the buffet. It's been a long time since I've been out having a dinner. Because I'm always streaming. I should treat myself. Well, next weekend I'm gonna go and celebrate. Is that it's the next weekend? Not this weekend, the next weekend, right? Yeah, I think that's no. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna go to my grandkids' 1-year birthday. So I'm gonna treat myself on the way home from that. Lindsay is really stupid, so I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's his burner phone, but from his Florida house, no one knows about. None of that is accurate, obviously. Apparently, the voicemail comes back and tells people to call his office number. So just because it's not registered in his name doesn't mean it's not his phone. My son did not escape the F-bomb when he wouldn't get up this morning for school. You can just play one of my F-bombs. What has the shortest half-life? I don't know. I wasn't a great student in physics. What has the shortest half-life? Shortest half-life will be... Come on, Grok. Hydrogen 7 has the shortest known half-life of any isotope at approximately 652 yoctoseconds, 6.52 times 10 in the minus 22 seconds. This highly unstable nuclide with 1 proton and 6 neutrons was first synthesized in 2003 and decays via neutron emission into tritium hydrogen 3. While the measurement has a large uncertainty, plus minus 558 yoctoseconds, it remains the briefest recorded among all known radioactive nuclides, far shorter than others like nitrogen 11M 690 yoctoseconds or beryllium 13 1 terasecond. For context, a yoctosecond is 10 in the minus 24th seconds, making this decay nearly instantaneous. Note that elementary particles like the top quark has even shorter lifetimes, around 0.35 yoctoseconds, but the question likely refers to isotopes based on common usage. So, hydrogen 7. Hey, Shelwood, it is. Steven said, what courthouse is the new KP charts out of? Aiden mentioned it was in Attleboro. I don't know what courthouse that's out of. I did answer that. Fedorowski, do you ski? I think to be a mountain monkey, you have to be born with skis on your feet. That's why Norwegian women is a little spacious. I'm interested to see if his Biatches Be Crazy defense works in his favor. I'm glad you're covering this case. Tons of fun. I can't wait to get it. Most times the cases get really good when the defense gets on, because a lot of the prosecution is just basic facts that they need to put in case of an appeal. But I thought this was a still photo because he hasn't moved in a long time. Maybe it is a still photo and the stream stopped. I'm just going to refresh this. It was a frozen stream. Why the hell is YouTube's go full screen? Because so far, to me, it seems pretty obvious that he just it seems like a custody battle gone wrong. You can't use that. Well, beryllium is the one that you get in as a contrast, right? I don't like Eric Clapton, no. Oh, you can get 40 packs in Denmark. You can't get above a 20 pack because socialism. Thank you, Gattaca, for 15 months. Thank you for all you do, Baker. No, thank you all for showing up. I'm just an idiot with a camera. Thank you all so much for liking this idiot and his camera. Wasn't anything coming up? Okay. I have owned one pair of skis in my life, and I put it on once, and I have never tried to ski. I got a pair of, kid skis back when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. Put them on once and never got outside to ski. My parents didn't ski, and now my sister owns a ski apartment down in the Alps, and my brother and her go skiing all the time. Oh, look who is on the hate suit train today. You love to snowboard. My brother-in-law snowboards a lot. That's just funny because apparently to stop smoking, you can only buy 20 packs. So you just have to buy 2 packs. Because yeah. You agree with your Swayze pack today? Pretty high. Pretty high. Not high enough to be pinned, but still pretty high. Just made plans for a ski. I don't like snow. Well, I like snow if I'm inside. We went down so my kids could learn to ski one year, because where my sister lived, there's like half an hour you can drive up into the mountains. There's a ski area. That's where the schools go to ski. And I had to, I believe she just had her kid at that time. So I was on baby duty, and the kids, yeah, they liked it, but we've never been skiing again since then. Do it. I go to the Poconos every January to ski snowboard from Camelback Mountain. It's not for me. It's not for me. Oh, you're another jellyfish, just like me. Apparently, we are very smart, but we live in our heads instead of in our hearts when you're a jellyfish. I bet you have fun. I've only seen my grandson like 10 times because I live so far away from him. It's a 4-hour or 2-hour drive each way. But we are working on trying to figure out how to sell this house and buy something closer so I can get closer to him. But I was looking at one, and I asked my daughter if her and the idiot could go out and look at it, because I don't want to drive 2 hours to look at a house. They can tell me, no, it's about to collapse around your ears. The day they were going to go out there and call the real estate agent, someone else bought it. So kind of fucked it. And now I'm looking at another one, but the energy report just looks absolutely crazy. It says it has a heating bill of $10,000 a year, and I'm like, are they heated? There's the garden is all stones. I'm thinking maybe they had underfloor heating in all of the garden, because how the hell can you use $10,000 a year in heating? That makes no sense. But no, I want to move closer to the baby so I can help out, and he can get to learn good old grandpa. Doesn't snow where I live. We have to drive hundreds of kilometers to experience snow. We will have approximately 10-15 days of snow a year. We don't get it because of the way we are situated. When the cold winds come in from the north, most of it will be stopped by Norway. It's kind of our blockade for the cold winds from Greenland and Iceland. When it comes in from the east, it'll get really cold over here when it comes from Russia, and we can get a lot of snow. But I live, and I always lived near water, so it's kind of, because my daughter already had the first night where there were frost at night, and we don't have it down here because we're so close to water. So we have better weather than she has, and that's kind of weird. I'm not looking forward to that part, because that's the part of Denmark where in Denmark you're always only 90 minutes away from the sea. That's the maximum. Within an hour and a half, you can drive to the sea. But that part she lives in is in the middle of that peninsula that's called Jutland. So they get really shitty weather and cold weather, but also better weather in the summer. So it's ups and downs. 40-foot ceilings. Is it hour 2 yet? No, you will have to calm your breeches, because we've only been going for 20 minutes. I've never been much of a cognac guy. Maybe I should try it. I only had the normal. Back when I was in city council, we'll have it for the big dinner. There was always, it was a 2-day conference, and then for the second day you would always get a glass of cognac, but it was just a cheap cognac, so I'm not a big fan. Oh, that's sad. Whatever closes that casket on you in peace. Why? Are you gonna kill me, or Sue gonna kill me? My kid is in Tampa, Florida. She is a 4-hour train ride away from me when I'm in Florida. That's a long way. Yeah. We're waiting for trial to start, as always. It's the Dustin Duren case. We don't know why we're waiting. They were supposed to have started 15 minutes ago. Maybe someone's late. We haven't heard anything. It's just, I don't know. Is there anything in chat? No. Not that I can see. So it seems like they're just delayed. And so I'm just filling time. I hear Minnesota snow is pretty exciting to play with. I heard it's Colombian snow that's the best. But what do I know? Cheap cognac is okay with a cup of coffee and some chocolate, but very different from real cognac. But it's the same when I started buying a little more expensive whiskey, because I didn't like whiskey. I thought it was just burning my mouth and it wasn't tasteful. And then I started buying a little more, and it has flavors. I looked at what the prior guy used for gas and what we used last month and what he used during the winter. It's gonna be brutal. My buddy bought an old house from 1883, and he thought it's going to be really expensive to heat it. But in Denmark, we have this kind of central heating where you have like one central and they'll send it out in the city. And I don't know what you would call it. We call it far away heat. I don't know why. But that's what they want to have for the environment. Then you can have your natural gas. Still, some have oil furnaces, or you'll have the wood pellets. And when he saw that, because he used to live in a house where he had electrical heating, and that's pretty expensive, because electrical everything is expensive in Denmark. And he was looking at it thinking, oh, this is going to be kind of expensive living in this house, because he had lived in a house previously that had an air exchange heating system. He spent 20% less than the ones who lived there before, and that was a single lady. So probably just not turning the heat on as much as she did. So, but I'm just $10,000 a year to something must be wrong in that energy report. But hey, if I can knock 100,000 off the price by just complaining about that, and it doesn't have that problem, I can fix the roof for 100,000. Yeah, but then again, then move it up to 10,000. That's 10 times what you used for 10 people. But if you live in the Keys, you'll have to fight Florida man, alligators, sharks, boa constrictors, spiders. Don't go to the Keys. No, you're on the coastline, so you probably have the same climate as we do, but in the mountains they'll catch the snow. I don't know how it'll fix it to call you old man. If you want to watch how Norway is, you should go look up Fedorowski's channel, because he has a lot of videos from Norway where you can get to enjoy the beauty of Norway, even though you are not close to Norway. So if you like stuff like that, please go subscribe to Fedorowski's channel. He has a lot of. He has what's called. Is this stuck again? No, his head is moving. What the hell is happening? He has what's called talent, something I don't have. So his videos are great. I've never really swum in a lake. That's not something, because we have the ocean right outside. But where my daughter lives, they have some of the cleanest lakes in Denmark. So they bathe in the lakes up there. Well, you'll have to go down there and get some heat. They have tree houses in the Keys. It sounds so fun. You just want to smoke meth with Roger, right? He has a clotting disorder, so he's not going to stroke out or anything. Oh, yeah. Talk about the heat bill. That would not get him exaggerated. And yeah, don't do that. Fedorowski has a new video out today, but it's Spooktober special from a wood-bound lake. What more do you want? Please go watch it on Fedorowski's channel. I'll normally try and plug Fedorowski's channel, and we share his videos when he releases new videos. So he's a great guy with a camera, and they make good videos, and they speak English, so you can get to see all of the beautiful country that is Norway. Well, the part he lives in, which is mountain, forest, and a little water. And they go to a lot of different and interesting places. I clear shipments being imported from around the world. I've been clearing a lot from Norona Sport in Denmark. Do you know anything about them? Oh, that's Norwegian. Norrøna. I believe that's Norwegian. That's it looks like snowboarding gear and stuff like that. Yeah, it's probably a Norwegian company. I don't think it's Danish. Our history. Norwegian outdoor enthusiast began his search for durable outdoor equipment to perform in Norway. So, yeah, this is a Norwegian brand. So maybe ask Fedorowski. He is probably better at that. I'd have a beer with Roger. I'll take a pass on the meth. That's what's keeping him young. See, it's a full service. I don't do that. Oh, maybe my daughter will be shipping stuff to you because my daughter works with. She's a customs. Works with customs, so she's been shipping a lot of stuff. But she's starting her new work next week. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to be now she's done with her maternity leave. Hey, Paula B. It's not a lot of Swasia today. Hey, Rachel. Nørrena. Yeah, I'm not a ski enthusiast, but we have a lot of, especially sports clothes like Hummel and all of these brands. What would you call them? Maybe if you have your Nikes and your Adidas and Hummel and all of these first tier, and then you'll have the second tier. A lot of those are made in Denmark as well. I actually talked to some of those fine folks in Rochester, Minnesota, and I would have a tough time ranking them Lefty and the co-count. Oh, well, stay away from Lefty. I'll rank Lefty as something you shouldn't have talked to. Mm-hmm. See, no Swasia. No Swasia. No Swasia. Yeah, but as you can see, there's there's a distinct lack of Swasia today. Well, Maria, we're just sitting here waiting for a judge to show up. So hopefully something will happen at some point, or I'll just have to sit here and keep running my mouth and try to find something new to talk about. I can give you a little teaser while we're waiting. I hope I'm not going to get copyright struck by this channel. See, and I just realized I should have asked Fedorowski first if they had copyrighted music on. That's the production value you'll get on a Fedorowski video. So when we're done with today's trial, go watch that over on Fedorowski's channel. No, I think it was set to start at 9 o'clock today. But she was granted that she could get there. Yeah, Fedorowski is gonna. I hear he's a big copyright striker. I don't believe that Kelsey's trial will be streamed because it's family court. Normally, you will not get photos from family court. Well, I've heard that from Shizzy before. I just hope that. Well, I'll cut it out if they strike me. Just to Serve TV got permission to go put it up on their YouTube later. Just to Serve TV. I trust that if they say it's correct, but normally you will not get permission to do anything in Family Court because it has to do with a very sensitive subject, especially this case where we're talking about how old is he now? 9-month-old kid. But I hope they can get it out there, and at least if they can go to court, they can cover what's happening instead of just a small nothing report. If my wife asks me if I pick the dog up and say I'm in Portugal, she can't beat me until at least Sunday, right? But you would be there when she asks you, so she would know you're not in Portugal. I think you and Sue need to work on your lies a little bit. It was a possibility. I'm misreading that. Well, Portugal is a short hop. Well, it's a 9-hour plane ride, I would think. But go to Portugal. I hear it's wonderful. Fedorowski's been there, I think. You actually showed the name of the composers at the end, which is what the composers want when we use their works. Hey, then everything's fine. I find it disgusting that Kelsey hearing is being recorded today. This is a private family matter, and as much as we all support her, we don't deserve to pry. I will not be sharing any recordings from Family Court. That's just a personal standpoint. Anyone is free to do. I don't condemn anything or anyone. I would rather have a report than any live recordings because it will be very emotional. Back in the day when I started being a layman, we had just one waiting room for the layman, where we all sat and waited to be called into the different courtrooms we had to be in later that day. Right across from where we were sitting as laymen was the 2 family court rooms, which is just small. It's more like arbitration rooms where they're trying to get some kind of solution. And walking into our room and getting our morning coffee while watching these families who is in probably the worst place in their life. They're maybe losing their kids. They might be getting a divorce. I don't want to show it, but I will never ever tell other people what to or not to. So I'll report on it if there's any news coming out of it. Of course I will, but I just believe that something is a little bit sacred. So we're muted. We could be good.
Diagnostic information to other physicians so that they can provide treatment to their patients.
Just gonna go back because it started 5 minutes ago. Sorry, I don't know what happened. That's because I was supporting.
Okay, please let the record reflect that none of the jurors raised their hands. Thank you very much. Appreciate your compliance with my instructions. Okay, Attorney Spicer. Thank you. The state calls Dr. Mitchell Weinberg.
And we'll go. Let's try and get a little bit boost on it.
Dr. Weinberg, could you raise your hand?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be true under the pain and penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
It's not that the kids might be in the courtroom. It's you get to watch someone maybe having their life torn from them. Imagine how she's going to react if the judge tells her, you can't have no contact with your kids. Your parents can't see your kids. You haven't seen your kids for close to 3 months now. I just don't want to broadcast that. Hey, Swizzy.
Good morning. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Sure. My name is Mitchell Weinberg. Last name is spelled Weinberg.
Dr. Weinberg, where do you work?
I work at the New Hampshire Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, which is based in Concord.
What is your title there?
I am the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner.
And what are the duties and responsibilities of the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
My primary job duties relate to conducting and overseeing medical legal death investigations, including the performance of postmortem examinations such as autopsies.
Before we get to what an autopsy is, Doctor, do you have any education, training, and experience with your position as a Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
Yes, I do. So after attending university and earning a bachelor's degree, I went to medical school, graduating from medical school in 2008. I then completed an anatomic pathology residency at Ohio State University, completing that part of my
Ohio
training
State.
in 2011. And then the last stage was a forensic pathology fellowship conducted in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Maryland Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and completing that in 2012. So at that point, I'd completed all of my schooling and training, and I was ready to enter the workforce as a staff forensic pathologist. And I did so, taking a job in Alberta, Canada, in 2012, holding that position until 2020, at which time I relocated to New Hampshire to take this position at the New Hampshire OCME.
Thank you, Doctor. You mentioned forensic pathology. I'll ask you first, what is pathology?
Pathology is an area of medicine focused on the study of human disease. It's a very broad field of medicine. Pathologists are often called the doctor's doctor because generally pathologists do not interact with patients directly, at least not very much. Rather, we provide diagnostic information to other physicians so that they can provide treatment to their patients.
So that is pathology. Could you tell us what forensic pathology is?
Sure. Forensic pathology is a branch of anatomic pathology that is focused on the application of principles of pathology and medicine as they can apply to areas of the law and also to some extent to areas of public health.
Okay. Does forensic pathology, or is forensic pathology concerned at all with determining cause of death?
Yes, that's a core function of any forensic pathologist's job. It's overseeing medical legal death investigations, and one of the primary reasons is to determine why an individual has died, i.e. the cause and manner of death.
So when conducting one of these medical legal investigations to determine the cause of death, does that include a review of not just diseases, but also trauma or injuries?
Yes.
Dr. Weinberg, what is an autopsy?
An autopsy is a surgical-like medical procedure involving an examination of a deceased individual. It involves an external examination as well as subsequent internal examinations to document the presence or absence of various disease processes as well as the presence or absence of various injuries or traumatic findings.
Dr. Weinberg, what is the general procedure that you follow when you conduct an autopsy?
The general procedure is that a body comes into the autopsy suite. I start with documentation of the body as received into our facility. I then undress the body, clean the body so that I am getting a good look at the cleaned,
At least buy it dinner and give it some flowers first.
naked external surfaces of the body for documenting those various findings. Then the procedure continues to an internal examination, which is examination basically from the head down to the pelvis in a standard forensic autopsy. So that, again, to be clear, means opening the chest, abdomen, examining the organs internally, again, for the presence or absence of natural disease processes, the presence of or absence of injuries, and also examining the neck and head contents for those same reasons.
Dr. Weinberg, does your general process for conducting an autopsy include a screening in the way of toxicology?
Yes, not at that same exact moment of time. So during the course of the autopsy on the day of examination, those specimens are collected, and then those specimens are sent to a laboratory that our office contracts with for toxicology testing, and then I usually get the results back 1 to 2 months later.
And what is the purpose of having blood sent out for testing?
It varies from case to case. Sometimes Toxicology provides the answer to the cause of death, such as in drug overdose cases. Other times, it provides additional information about the circumstances. So, for example, in a motor vehicle incident, it's also just, I guess, to be clear, it's standard procedure in pretty much every office that cases involving trauma, a toxicology screen is performed.
Dr. Weinberg, how do you document the results of an autopsy or the conduct of an autopsy?
There's a few different ways. So one is just with handwritten notes. It's literally nothing more than me writing notes on sheets of paper to document the findings. I also document my findings photographically. So that's a big part of modern forensic pathology practice. Lots of digital photographs of pertinent positive and negative examination findings. And then probably the most formal part is for each case, I produce a typed formal written report of my examination findings. And at the completion of that case, I sign and date that document.
Dr. Weinberg, you mentioned that you take photos. Is it common for police officers or law enforcement officials to also be present when an autopsy is conducted?
It depends on the nature of the case. Actually, probably for the majority of my cases, the answer is no. But in certain kinds of cases, cases that may involve future criminal charges, then yes, it is common for law enforcement to be in attendance, and often he or she will take photographs for themselves as well.
Dr. Weinberg, as part of an autopsy, do you determine something called cause of death?
Yes.
What does it mean to determine the cause of death?
The cause of death is the underlying disease process, injury, or intoxication that accounts for an individual's death, no matter how rapidly or how drawn out the time process involved. So examples of causes of death are medical issues such as various forms of cancer, strokes, various forms of cardiovascular disease, as well as injuries. So things like stab wounds, gunshot wounds, asphyxial injuries such as hanging or strangulation. Those are all various types of cause of death that I can put on a death certificate based on the totality of my examination and investigational findings in a case.
Dr. Weinberg, could you tell us how many autopsies have you conducted in your career?
I can't tell you an exact number because I don't keep that precise a log, but at this point in my career, about 14 years post-fellowship, it has to be just to either side of 3,000 at this point.
Dr. Weinberg, of those roughly 3,000 autopsies that you have conducted, how many involved gunshot wounds?
Hundreds.
Dr. Weinberg, have you been qualified in court as an expert in forensic pathology on previous occasions?
Yes.
Could you tell us about how many times?
Probably approaching 100 at this point, in the various jurisdictions in which I've worked and testified.
Does that include being qualified as an expert in forensic pathology in the state of New Hampshire?
Yes, multiple times at this point, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to qualify Dr. Weinberg as an expert in forensic pathology.
He shall be so recognized.
Dr. Weinberg, did you conduct an autopsy on the body of Caitlyn Naffziger on March 1st of 2024?
Yes.
Where was this autopsy performed?
At Concord Hospital in Concord, New Hampshire.
As part of that autopsy, did you determine Ms. Naffziger's height and weight?
I did.
What were those?
If I may at this point, may I refer to my case file, which has a copy of the autopsy report?
Yes, please refer to your report for purposes of refreshing your memory.
Sure. So Ms. Naffziger was 60 inches or 5 feet tall and 114 pounds.
Dr. Weinberg, I'll ask you to disclose your notes.
Sure.
5 feet, that's a tiny one.
Dr. Weinberg, you talked about the number of ways that you document an autopsy, including photographs and then a report. Did you do those things with regard to Ms. Naffziger's autopsy?
Yes.
Did you conduct an external examination of Ms. Naffziger's body?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you find?
Well, along with just the routine things that I document in every case, things like hair color, eye color, scars, tattoos, presence or absence thereof, things like that. The most significant thing is there were two very obvious defects to the head, which I quickly was able to recognize as gunshot wound injury.
You mentioned that there were two defects that you described as a gunshot injury. Could you describe, did you assign any sort of classification to those injuries?
Yes. During the course of the examination, ultimately I was able to determine that one of the defects represented an entry wound and the other defect represented an exit wound. Therefore, I was able to determine that there was a single gunshot wound to the head with both entry and exit wounds present.
So I'd like to ask you about that. What is an entry wound?
An entry wound is the term that a forensic pathologist will use for the defect, the injury, the hole, where the bullet enters an individual's body.
And following that, what is an exit wound?
So same sort of thing, except now we're talking about from where the bullet exits the body. Every gunshot wound has to have some sort of entry. Not every gunshot wound has an exit. Some gunshot wounds have a retained projectile, but that was not so in this case.
How are you able to determine the difference between an entry wound and an exit wound?
Largely, it is a product of my training and experience at this point. Simply put, they look different, and it is my training and experience that allows me to make that distinction. Most of the time, it's pretty straightforward for an experienced forensic pathologist to differentiate an entry wound from an exit wound. They look different. They have different characteristics, different features, and that's just externally. There are also internal features that can help with that distinction when necessary. Everything in this case did align with the ultimate way I classified, as one side being the entry wound and the other side being the exit wound.
Dr. Weinberg, you mentioned an entry wound and an exit wound, and then you classified them collectively as a gunshot wound. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
So is it your opinion that that entry wound and that exit wound were caused by the same bullet?
Yes.
Could you tell us where those wounds were?
Yes, and again, I just want to refer to my notes because I don't want to switch the laterality.
Sure.
Excuse me, not my notes. I'm actually looking at the formal autopsy report. So in Miss Naffziger's case, the entry wound is on the left side of the head, on the temporal scalp, which basically means the portion of the head above the ear. So approximately in that general region where I'm pointing on myself, just for demonstrative purposes to the jury, but for the written record, I'm pointing slightly above my left ear. That was the entry wound in this case.
This is why I was waiting for the medical examiner. This makes no sense in a self-defense manner. Here, this side of the head, if you're fighting for a child, you grab a force multiplier and at the same time wrestling the kid free. Why is she turning around, or why do you get her in this area? That makes no sense in a self-defense situation.
Was the exit wound?
The exit wound was basically just on the opposite side, so on the right side, also a little bit above the right ear.
Dr. Weinberg, were you able to determine the bullet's course of travel through Ms. Naffziger's head?
Yes.
What was it?
The bullet passed through the skull and then basically passed through the brain. The report documents the specific anatomic structures in the brain, which I can get into if necessary, but essentially the bullet passed right through Ms. Naffziger's brain.
After passing through her brain, did it then exit through her skull again?
Yes, so passed through the left side of the skull, through the brain, and then through the right side of the skull, and then exited the body through the skin.
Did you recover a retained projectile from anywhere inside Ms. Naffziger's body?
No, I did not in this case.
Dr. Weinberg, you told us about the path that that bullet traveled, in your expert opinion. Did you observe any internal injuries to Ms. Naffziger associated with that bullet?
Well, yes, the injuries to the skull, the dura mater, which is the covering around the brain, and the brain were all injured by the gunshot wound in this case. They were injured by the bullet.
And could you describe just what was your diagnosis of those injuries for the record?
You mean
What were the injuries?
go specifically through the parts of the brain? Sure. I'm again going to refer to my report here, but the bullet passes through the left temporal cerebrum, cerebral white matter, and deep nuclei, such as the basal ganglia and the thalamus, the right frontotemporal cerebrum, and the right, and then out through the skull. So again, those are just specific anatomic regions of the cerebrum, which is kind of the main portion of the brain that people think about when you think of a picture of the brain.
Did you observe anything along the lines of hemorrhaging or contusions to parts of Ms. Naffziger's brain?
Yes, there was bleeding, which is absolutely expected, associated with.
Is that where you would expect a self-defense wound to be? Uh, Wouldn't you expect it to be somewhere in the front? If she's coming at you, if you had to defend yourself. And that seems like a struggle. Nope, because it's a through and through. It's almost straight through and through. If you're struggling, again, if this is the trajectory, to me it doesn't. If you're struggling, you would be fighting down here somewhere, and you wouldn't have a perfect. This. I'm just in conspiracy mode today, but that sounds more like someone who tried to maybe make it look like a self-deletion, and it went wrong because the kid was there or something like that. Sounds more like someone is trying to do the good old, I just don't want to be here anymore. It looks more like that. Yeah, and she's 5 foot tall, so maybe she just crab walked. Well, I don't read anything. I'll just yell at you for being wrong. Come on now. How long have you been on this channel?
Any sort of traumatic injury in a living person, including a gunshot wound. There were also areas of associated bruising on the surface of the brain. These are all, just to be clear, injuries that are directly associated, and findings, I should say.
But he was holding the kid, is what they said in the opening statement. So he would be directly in front of her, but that's why I'm saying, wouldn't you expect, if you had to unalive someone, you'll either do it here or you'll do it here. You wouldn't do it here. Oh, it looks like self-deletion. Like she's holding to her head and he tries to go stop it and get the kid. If you want to cover it up like an attempted self-deletion, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying they're struggling for the kid. He grabs it and then he gets the kid and has to pew her. And that doesn't line up with that type of injury.
Associated with the gunshot wound.
Dr. Weinberg, were the injuries to Ms. Naffziger's brain from that gunshot wound?
Why did they remove the audio?
The 3 classifications surface, and there's basically 3 classifications or 3 groupings that I make when I assess range of fire in a gunshot.
No, he was wrestling with her, and the kid screamed because she was hurting him. Then he grabbed the pistol. While holding the kid, he then shot her. This is what was stating in opening statements.
Wound case.
Oh, sidebar. I didn't need to have taken all these breaks. And we can skip a lot of sidebar.
Skin surface. Where I would
Or looked over to grab her phone. But again, remember what the crime scene investigator said. She was sitting something like this with her foot up on the coffee table.
Dr. Weinberg, I believe the question posed to you was, what is range of fire?
Sure. So I think I was at a point where I was explaining that as a forensic pathologist, we classify range of fire into one of 3 categories. And it, again, relates to the distance between the tip of the weapon and the skin surface at the time of discharge. So the first category is contact, which basically means the gun is up against the skin at the time of discharge. The second grouping is intermediate range of fire, which basically means from a few inches away up to about 3 feet. That's the intermediate range of fire. And then beyond that is a distant range of fire, or indeterminate, or, as the phrasing I use, no evidence of close range firing. So intermediate and contact are considered close range firing. That is, the tip of the weapon is less than about 3 feet from the tip of the skin.
He hasn't even said how far he believed he was away from, and you still want. Trying to look at Jeff. Oh, well, that's a long time. We don't know if anyone was cheating. We haven't heard anything like that. But while we're sitting here doing nothing, remember they claimed she was sitting with her leg on the coffee table with a blanket around her. I'm just saying that if you want to, well, she needed to be left-handed. But again, if you wanted to make it look like she was taking the quick way out, that could be a position she's in. I just don't see that's a self-defense position, especially with a wound to the side of the head. Makes no sense. Most crime documentaries will most likely be copyright protected, so I can't do that. Yeah, but it's a long time since. I think maybe he found his old phone or something, so all the else are going. Well, you got a few of them out today. But I'm not thinking, keep rubbing your eyes, maybe get to bed a little bit earlier. My dad always said that the dead doctors, they were the weirdest people in the world, because who else goes and, fondle your ear. Oh, and then your nose. Lick your finger. Who the hell is walking outside of my windows? Probably someone who's not supposed to be here. Hey, Money Tree. Hey, Despite. Weird, someone keeps walking past my window. That's creepy. What's creepy? Thank you, Holly Mac, for gifting 5 memberships to Full of Questions, Barbara. MLS Making Law Simple. Louis Ballou. Tree Clerk Monty. And Tom Gillis Golf. Thank you so much, Holly Mac. No, I don't have a peeper. It's probably someone from my neighbor, but it looked like someone was going in there, and then they came back, and then they went. We have a lady who has like keys and stuff to his apartment when he's on vacation, and he is very sick. But I heard him like half an hour before I streamed, so I was just wondering if anything could have happened to him. So maybe I need to go check. You're never getting that driver. You know that. His son stole it. Yes, I'm normally the peeper. You have some Louis Tres. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Tres. Louis Tres.
Dr. Weinberg, I'm going to ask you again to define those 3 categories of fire.
Okay.
I'm going to check and see if there's something with my neighbor.
So the first category of range of fire is contact, which means the tip of the weapon is basically up against the skin surface up to maybe a couple of inches away. Intermediate range of fire means that the gun tip is a little bit further back. Usually it's defined as somewhere between 6 and 36 inches away from the skin surface. That's the intermediate range of fire. And again, in combination, contact and intermediate are lumped as close range firing. If you don't see any of the markers of either contact or intermediate range of firing, the gunshot wound is defined as an indeterminate range of fire or distant range of fire, or the phrasing I use in my reports, no evidence of close range firing. And again, that generally means that the tip of the weapon is at least 3 feet away or more.
So Dr. Weinberg, when you determine that something is in that last category as not close range or indeterminate, you can't tell if something is 37 inches or 37 feet, can you?
That's correct.
You mentioned markers that you use to determine whether a gunshot wound falls into one of these 3 categories. What are those markers?
Those markers are the presence of soot around a wound, as well as imprints from the muzzle or other parts of the gun, such as a sight or a firing pin. Those are things that are generally seen in the contact range of fire. Intermediate range of fire is classically defined with the presence of something called gunpowder stippling, which are basically these tiny little pinpoint marks around a gunshot wound from gunpowder particles striking the skin. But once you get beyond about 3 feet or 36 inches, those markers generally are not going to be present, and therefore, as I said, you have no evidence of close range firing, and you can opine that the gun is 3 feet or more away from the skin surface at the time of discharge.
Dr. Weinberg, with regard to Ms. Naffziger, did you observe any of those marks that you described as evidence of close or intermediate range firing?
No, no such markers were present in this case.
So in your opinion, were the wounds that you observed on Ms. Naffziger in that third category of indeterminate or distant fire?
Yes, in my opinion, the entry gunshot wound in this case shows no evidence of close range firing.
And again, that means 3 feet or more.
Correct.
Dr. Weinberg, I'm showing you a series of 4 images marked for identification. It states 21A through D. Could you please take a look at those?
Sure.
Dr. Weinberg, what are these?
These are a small sampling of the autopsy photographs that I took during Ms. Naffziger's examination. More specifically, there are 2 photographs each of the entry and exit wounds at various magnifications or at various stages of the examination process.
Dr. Weinberg, do these photos, states 21A through D, fairly and accurately represent the state of Ms. Naffziger's wounds at the time you conducted your autopsy on March 1st, 2024?
Generally, yes. There has been some alteration, and specifically what I mean is these wounds were in parts of the head where there is hair. So it's very standard in my line of work to document those wounds both as is, i.e. with the hair there, with the hair still present, and to clean and shave the skin around the entry wounds and exit wounds when there is hair present. So the clearing of the hair around the wounds that you'll see in some of these photographs, I did that as part of the examination. That's what I mean by manipulation, but otherwise, yes.
So just to be clear, Dr. Weinberg, these photos show a fair and accurate representation of Ms. Naffziger's wounds during the autopsy you conducted, and that includes both before and after you made those alterations you described by shaving or cleaning up some of those areas.
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to strike the ID on states 21A through D.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to 21A through D inclusive, and they shall be considered as full exhibits.
Dr. Weinberg, you can see up on the screen, and you have one there as well. This is State's Exhibit 21A. Could you please tell the jury what they're looking at?
Yes, this is a medium magnification view showing the left side of Ms. Naffziger's head, and this wound specifically, this picture specifically is showing the presence of the entry gunshot wound after I have cleaned it up and cleared away some of the surrounding hair.
And again, Dr. Weinberg, that cleaning up, it was so that you could better examine this wound?
Exactly. This is just very standard forensic pathology practice throughout North America. You examine the wound as is, but you also clean it up for this exact reason. Sometimes there are features that are better seen, and I don't think I need to get into it more, but that's why.
I'm now showing you State's Exhibit 21B. What is this?
This is essentially very similar to the previous photograph, except at a higher magnification. Again, it's very common to take photographs at multiple levels of magnification, just to show different features. This is a higher magnification view of the entry gunshot wound.
Now, this wound appears to be, for lack of a better term, fairly clean. There don't seem to be a lot of sharp edges. Is that a hallmark of an entry wound?
This is a very classic appearance of an entry gunshot wound. Yes, it is. It's fairly rounded in nature. It is somewhat punched out because the skin does actually get physically punched out as the bullet passes through. This is a textbook entry gunshot wound that I would use for teaching purposes.
Yeah, he was found fine. There was just someone who was coming to visit him who couldn't figure out where he lived, and then this lady, he had given them her address. So
Now showing State's Exhibit 21C. What is this, Dr. Weinberg?
So this photograph is showing now the right side of Ms. Naffziger's head. There's been a little bit of cleaning at this point in the photograph, but there is the hair obviously hasn't been removed yet. Above and in front of the right ear, there is the defect that I've previously spoken about, and this is a photograph of the exit gunshot wound in this case.
Just one more. Dr. Weinberg, what are we looking at here?
Now, so same perspective as the previous photograph, but a little bit higher magnification, and also now there has been cleaning of the wound and removing of the hair to facilitate better documentation. Here you can see the features of the exit gunshot wound, much more jagged, ragged, not that clean circular or ovoid type appearance of an entry gunshot wound. There's also a little fragment in the wound that I believe is a bony fragment from the skull having been injured. So that's what we're looking at in this photograph.
Thank you. Dr. Weinberg, other than the gunshot wounds that you've described, did you observe any other injuries to Ms. Naffziger during your external or internal examinations?
No.
Any other injuries or trauma in other parts of the body?
No.
Any evidence of significant natural disease?
No.
Any significant findings from the results of Ms. Naffziger's toxicology screening?
No.
So, Dr. Weinberg, in your opinion, what was the cause of death for Ms. Naffziger?
In my opinion, Ms. Naffziger's cause of death was a gunshot wound of the head.
Is the gunshot wound that we've been discussing and that you just described for us using pictures?
Correct.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Okay, thank you.
oh, why do you need to approach all the time? Well, you and Sue can argue if, what's the word you're always arguing if it's a real word? Hey, RJ.
Take a brief recess right now. We'll be back at 10:15. We'll get restarted at 10:15. Again, I instruct you not to discuss the case amongst yourselves. And if anyone does so, please indicate so to the court security officer or bailiff. Thank you. Be back at 10:15.
Where the hell is it?
Okay. Do you remember any description as far as the size of these men?
Yeah, I remember the size of them. I know, I could tell by the Swazer who that one was, you know, by meeting him different times up there at Paula's. I knew the Swazer is, get that word right, Swazer? Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know what that word means, so I'm sorry.
Oh, his style, his
Oh,
walk, his talk.
okay.
There you go. Yeah, it's an 8-minute break, so I don't know what it's about. I thought they were going to argue something. I don't know what. I don't know why every time the defense gets to cross-examination, they have to go up and do a sidebar. It's every single time. No, it happens right after the sidebar, and I just don't get why they need a sidebar every single time they have to do cross-examination. It's one of those where you're thinking, oh yeah, Brandon has some racist kidneys. The word you are referring to is regardless. That's the word. Yes, irregardless, regardless is a word. And now for a 2-hour breakdown where Brandon and Sue will be arguing. Just for the entertainment of the troops. The questions they have been asking are not good questions. I have a hard time seeing where they're going to plant that evidence. But again, with a bullet trajectory that is from above the ear to the other side of the, or right above the other ear, I just have a hard time seeing what fighting position you were in. If you turned her head away and then blasted her, maybe. But if you can turn her head, you can push her down. Again, she was in a seated position with her leg up, if we are to believe the crime scene investigator. So how is she fighting you? And you had the baby at that time. As soon as you have the baby, I don't see, unless she has a weapon, that you need to use deadly force. Not to protect you, not to protect the baby. She's a 5 foot, 100 and, I didn't get how much she weighed. You are a former Marine. A big push back on the couch. The other kid is out in the car. Run out to the car, lock the doors, speed off. Call the cops saying she went absolutely bananas. And I am I'm going to the barracks and meet with you. I have the kids with me. Can you go and make sure everything is okay? I think I have a hard time making this make sense in my head. You're not going to argue regardless of what Lesko says, regardless is a word. Yeah, but I like Mountain Dew. Sadly, Mountain Dew is one of those special sodas in Denmark that we can't really get. We get Sprite instead. It's not the same. Irregardless of whether it's grammatically correct, irregardless is used in common vernacular. That makes less sense than what I type. How is she still sitting upright and not falling to the side, sitting on the couch? Let's say this is the couch. This is going to be really badly drawn because I'm not good at drawing bodies. If she is, this looks like shit, but I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. If she's sitting up against the armrest on one side, she's a small little 5-foot lady. Maybe she's leaned back. She has her foot up. And if he blast her from, it was left to right. Well, that'd probably be better if she was on the other side of the couch, but he then perforates her from that side. A bullet. I know you have watched a lot of movies and think that everyone just automatically collapse, but it'll just snap her head around and she will then slump over. So it's not like she's going to be blown to the other side of the couch if she's sitting there leaning back, because the momentum it makes, it'll rip the most of her brain out, but it'll be the neck that takes most of the force. It's not going to move the body as long as it's in the head. Probably some neck trauma, but who cares, because her brain isn't there anymore. So she'll probably be slumped over, but she wouldn't be blasted on the other side, especially if the couch is a little tall and she has her leg up, which would kind of counterbalance it. I don't know. I'm not a doctorologist. To me, I just don't see this has anything to do with a self-defense case, because the second he has the kid, she can't hurt the kid. And if she's seated with a blanket around her, she's not running at him. And she doesn't have any hole punches. I don't understand how wildly speculating. She's sitting with the kid and they have an argument because he believes she's leaving them. I don't get why the 1-year-old is in the car. But if she's seated there with the blanket around her, have he been in the car with the 1-year-old first and then gone to get the 4-year-old? Is that what's happening? And she said, no, you're not going to take her. Well, I'm not giving her. I know you're going to take them from me. I won't let you do that. We're moving, or we're leaving. And then she, no, I'm not going to do it. Boom. And then he takes the kid. I don't know. The 4-year-old, all we got from her was they were arguing. I don't know. We see Mr. Squiggle. Some will know. I don't know who Mr. Squiggle is. Yes, Brandon is back to dying, Sue. Stop being a hater. There's someone who has offered to help Brandon, and clearly it's not any of us degenerates. Is it Zach? Did Zach say you can get one of his leftovers, as he calls his truck stop pickups? when they're done. The 4-year-old probably doesn't know what to think. No, she's probably also in shock. This is the doctor who saw her the first night. Why would I not tell you and then tell you? I can't grasp how
Yes,
any
sir.
lawyer could take this sketch and,
Good morning.
I don't know,
Good morning, ma'am.
Just a few questions.
lock him up to be young again. Look him up to be young again. Who? What? Mr. Squiggle. Probably not something we had in Denmark. Thank you, Spire.
Sure.
So you made a specific finding that there was no evidence of close range firing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this means that you did not see the markers often associated with close range firing, correct?
Correct.
But you cannot say with 100% certainty that the gun was not fired within 3 feet.
No, I suppose not, particularly considering that there was hair overlying the entry wound. But again, I see no such markers around the entry wound in this case.
But you can't say 100% that it wasn't within 3 feet.
There are very few things as a forensic pathologist that I can say with 100% certainty. It is not my opinion that the range of fire is less than 3 feet in this case.
Well, you cannot tell this jury the exact distance the gun was when it was fired, correct?
No, I certainly can't. As I said on direct, once you kind of pass that 3-foot barrier and there are no visible signs of close range firing, there's nothing I can do to distinguish whether the range of fire is, say, 40 inches or 50 inches or 80 inches, etc.
And you weren't there, right?
Where?
At the apartment when the shooting happened, correct?
No, of course not.
No. And so you didn't see what happened, right?
No, of course not.
And you didn't see where the gun was when it was fired, correct?
That is correct.
And you didn't see what Caitlyn was doing, correct?
Correct.
You didn't hear what she was saying, correct?
Correct.
You don't know where Dustin
Speaking?
was when he fired it, correct?
Correct.
And you don't know if it was fired in self-defense, right?
That is not my role to assess.
Or in defense of others.
Basis?
Can we approach?
Sure.
Can you just ask, hey, Tyler. Oh, reaching. Wouldn't you want it to be kind of close if it's a self-defense wound? Wouldn't you want a self-defense wound to have left stippling because, oh, we were fighting with the pew-pew?
And Dr. Weinberg, you
Oh, he was
do
holding
not
the
know if
kid.
it was fired in defense of others either.
That's speculation.
I have no opinion on that matter. My role is to examine Ms. Naffziger, determine her cause and manner of death, assess injuries. It is never my role to assess that kind of thing, justifiability, self-defense, any of those questions. That is not my role as the medical examiner or as a forensic pathologist. So I have no opinion on that matter.
Your Honor, if I could just have one moment.
Only for the first day. Then they went away from. Did you know he was a Marine and Marine kills everyone? Hey, Jamie.
Morning.
Do you like this? It wasn't a close contact, so it must have been a self-defense
No
wound.
further questions, thank you.
Yeah, that was a pretty stupid question.
Dr. Weinberg, are you familiar with the term manner of death?
Yes.
What is that?
Manner of death is a classification that I must do in my role as a medical examiner for the state of New.
Objection, please approach.
Oh, lady, stop it. Yeah, shake his head. Did you see? Did you see him?
A little bit.
It's what was it?
Did he just-
Trubucarino? Oh, unalive me, please.
Did he just put his hands over his face?
It seems seems like a stupid argument again. This is boilerplate forensic stuff. Manner of death. There are 4 different types. It can be this, that, and this. This isn't a natural death.
No.
So, and it's a pew-pew through the head. We believe it's homicide because this guy said he did it.
He did. Yeah, and this guy has nothing to do with it.
He's
Isn't
going to go
determined.
and undress a body and clean it up after this one. And he's going to be extra careful. Brandon, this is the why you shouldn't kick the bucket, because this guy will be fondling your bits after.
No. Don't say bits.
Brandon knows what I mean by bits.
Yeah, I know.
This guy is the type who would.
Manner of death is part of my statutory role as a medical examiner for every single case that I am involved in. So we talked about cause of death before, right? That's the injury, the medical issue, the substance toxicity that accounts for a patient's death. Manner of death is a classification relating to the circumstances around a death. Whereas cause of death is free text, I can say or write whatever I want. Manner of death is, think of it like it's a drop-down menu. I only have 5 choices for how I classify manner of death in a case. Those options are natural, suicide, accident, homicide, or undetermined. And that is, again, it's a classification relating primarily to the circumstances of how an injury occurred for deaths that are non-natural.
Now, Dr. Weinberg, you mentioned natural, accident, homicide, suicide. Those are not legal determinations that should carry any weight with the jury, are they?
No, as far as I'm concerned, they are part of my role as a medical examiner, and they are not statements of, they're not legal determinations.
In your opinion, what was Caitlyn Naffziger's manner of death?
I classified the manner of death in this case as homicide.
Thank you.
It's unnatural.
Pardon me.
And again, why are we fighting this?
I know.
It was going to come in.
No one knows.
No more questions.
Maybe you can get him to do it before you kick the bucket.
Dr. Weinberg, homicide is a classification on how the injury occurred. That's what you just told us?
Generally, yes.
It's not an opinion on whether a crime occurred, though, correct?
That is most definitely
Just
correct.
said
Yes, ma'am.
that.
Okay, thank you.
He just said that.
Okay. Dr. Weinberg, be excused?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah, get him out of here.
What do you think about the position of the injury?
Yeah, once we found out it was side of the head, I'm a little not. I don't understand that.
Yeah, seems a little.
Yeah, it's
However, at
pretty
the
fishy.
state- At this time, the state will call Sergeant Michael McLaughlin.
Like, oh my god. Because I was thinking like straight on. Because if he's fighting her straight on, but side of the head. Mm-mm.
And again, a straight through. Does that seem like they're struggling, or he's trying to keep her away? And again, we don't know if they showed pictures of her position when they arrived at the scene. But if she is seated with a blanket around her, I have a hard time adding it up.
Raise your right hand.
I mean, this one's a tough one for me for even that he had to use that kind of force.
Yeah, I don't believe there is any reasonable so far. But
Like if
again,
she was holding a knife or something to this baby, saying,
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that was the case, there's
Sir
another
Crawford,
story.
I'm gonna
But
ask if you
she's just
haven't
sitting
already
there
done
holding
so,
a
if you can
kid.
pull that microphone a little bit closer to
Do
you.
something different.
I don't know where the bullet ended up. It went straight through. So a 9 mil to the dome will end up somewhere in the wall.
Thanks so much. Sir, what is your current employment?
Well, that's what they're claiming. But I don't know if they've shown that picture. If her leg is on the table, I have a very hard time seeing this as a self-defense case.
Yeah.
I'm employed, I'm a detective sergeant with New Hampshire State Police assigned to Troop C,
And how long have you been working with the New Hampshire State Police?
15 years.
How long have you been assigned to Troop C?
15 years.
Did you have law enforcement experience prior to joining the New Hampshire State Police?
I served in the military as a military policeman
Ooh.
for 14 years.
As a sergeant with the New Hampshire State Police, what does that mean your responsibilities are?
So a detective sergeant with the state police, I have 2 detectives assigned to me, so 3 of us total. We're assigned to Cheshire and Sullivan counties, responsible for the more serious crimes, burglaries, thefts, sex assaults, all the way up to and including homicide, assisting major crime.
When you say assisting major crime, what do you mean by major crime?
So major crime is basically what most agencies would call a homicide unit or homicide investigative unit.
And as part of your responsibilities as a detective sergeant with Troop C, or as a detective in general with Troop C, you assist the major crime unit if they need help with those kinds of investigations?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have any kinds of training or experience that you utilize during your job with regard to conducting investigations?
Yes.
What kinds of training do you have?
So I have basic investigative trainings. I do have training in homicide specifically. On a death investigation specifically, I do have training in interview and interrogation. There's a lot more.
Thank you so much, Crispy Bacon. $20 in recognition of my 20K milestone. Thank you so much. See, Jamie
Aw.
didn't even say congratulations, and she hasn't been on since I hit 20,000 because she's angry I didn't hit 50,000. And
Whatever.
she says hi to me, Jamie, Marissa, and Jess. One mod who is in chat right now who didn't get recognized. I'm just saying. But thank you so much. He's
Crispy
being
is the best.
discriminated against, Brandon, today. We still like him, right, Jamie?
Of course. I want him to live a long,
Training
healthy
and
life.
experience.
Let me ask you about that. You said that you had trainings with respect to interviews and interrogation. Are those two things interchangeable, or can you explain to us what the difference is between the two?
Sure. And this is more my definition based on my experience. But interview, I would say the person that is being interviewed would do the majority of the talking. Interrogation, on the other hand, would be the investigator would be doing most of the talking. Interrogation is more direct questions as opposed to an interview that would be open-ended questions, and the suspect would be given the opportunity to, or the interviewee would be given the opportunity to answer those questions.
Do you conduct interviews of suspects or interrogations?
Generally, or mostly interviews. Occasionally, it does turn into an interrogation.
Did there come a time when you became involved with an investigation that was being conducted by the Major Crime Unit into a homicide that occurred on February the 29th of 2024 in Berlin, New Hampshire?
Yes.
And I guess let me back up. Troop C, what areas of New Hampshire does that cover?
So it's Cheshire County and Sullivan County, so the southwest section of New Hampshire.
Where are the barracks for Troop C located?
Keene, New Hampshire,
Where in Keene?
15 Ashbrook Court, just right off of Route 9.
How far from, let's say, the Applebee's in Keene is your troop barracks?
It's one intersection away, it's less than a mile.
What was your role in the investigation that you became a part of, the one that happened in Berlin?
So initially, I was the closest detective to a traffic stop that was ongoing. And then eventually I was assigned to conduct an interview with Mr. Duren.
Now, can you explain how it is that you actually did become involved? You said you were the closest detective. how did you become aware of this traffic stop that was occurring?
So before that, I was aware of the death investigation for two different ways. So I received text messages for all death investigations in the state. So I was aware that there was a death investigation in Berlin in the early morning hours. I also received an Amber Alert, which added to that. When I signed on for duty that morning, it was 7:30 that morning, I signed on for duty. State Police has a computer dispatch program, and I'm able to see what's going on in the entire state. I did look to see what was going on in the Berlin case. But I was at the barracks. We monitor Keene Police Department's radio as well as Cheshire County's radio at the barracks. There was some commotion. It's in another room, so I didn't totally hear what the transmissions were. But at some point, my lieutenant popped his head into my office and said that the vehicle from the Amber Alert is at the Applebee's in Keene.
Once you heard that, what did you do?
My first reaction is, no, it's not. But after a few minutes, I decided it would probably be best, again, being the closest detective, to head over there and verify that, because I knew my phone would be ringing eventually with questions. So I drove to the Applebee's and ultimately verified that it was the correct vehicle.
And when you arrived at the Applebee's, what did you see? What was happening?
So there was a Keene police cruiser. I recognized the white Subaru from the Amber Alert, so I noticed that was parked. The Keene cruiser was not far behind it. There were several other Keene cruisers, a lot of officers and state troopers at that point, and some other people in the area. What I did was I spoke to the Keene officers, and my lieutenant was at the scene, determined that Mr. Duren was in the back of one of the cruisers, and just briefly introduced myself, expecting to have a further conversation with him later on that day.
Okay. When you say you introduced yourself, you approached Mr. Duren, and you indicated, did you introduce yourself, say who you were?
I did.
Okay. And did you ask him any questions at that point?
Basically, like, is he okay? Is there anything I can get him? Is he comfortable? And just said that he would most likely be coming to the Troop C barracks in Keene, and that we would have a lengthy conversation once he got there. What I do recall is the heat, and I felt it myself, but the heat inside the Keene cruiser was on very high, and Mr. Duren asked if I could have the Keene officer adjust that, which they did.
Okay. Now, you have looked several times towards a location in the courtroom when you say the name Mr. Duren or Duren. Do you see Mr. Duren, the person that you introduced yourself to that day here in this courtroom?
I do.
Could you, by pointing him out and or identifying him by an article of clothing that he's currently wearing, please let us know where he is?
Sure. He's seated right here almost directly in front of me wearing a gray suit. We'll call it a purple shirt and a paisley purple tie.
Your Honor, identifying the defendant for the record.
The record shall so reflect.
Now, when you see the defendant here today in court, does he appear to you to be in the same, does he look the same as he did when you first met him?
He's got a haircut. His beard is a little shorter, but he does look the same.
Showing you what is marked for identification purposes is State's Exhibit 18 for this case. Can you take a look at that and let me know if you recognize it?
I do.
What is it?
It's a photograph of Mr. Duren.
Okay, and does that photograph clearly and accurately show Mr. Duren at the time that you met him on March the 1st of 2024?
Yes.
So at this time, the state moves to strike the identification and admit State's Exhibit 18 as full.
No objection.
The ID shall be stricken and Exhibit 18 shall be considered a full exhibit.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Certainly.
For replacing, let me plug in first.
Crispy, thank you so much for following up and making Brandon's day, because other people just give him the Zoo-Bird. Thank you so much, Crispy.
Crispy is amazing.
Brandon is amazing, and so is Crispy. Thank you.
Of course he is.
Currently publishing State's Exhibit 18 on the screen. That's how Mr. Duren appeared when you first encountered him?
Show us the screen.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you've described to us your first interaction with the defendant, how you introduced yourself to him and asked to get the heat turned down for him. Why is it that you went out to the scene and introduced yourself to him?
I would describe it as building rapport. Again, just making sure he was comfortable, and when we did get a chance to sit down and talk, I did essentially the same thing, but just make sure he's comfortable. If he needed to eat, we would get him some food. If he wanted something to drink, we would get him something to drink.
At the time that you met him at the Applebee's parking lot when he was in that cruiser, did you ask if he wanted any food?
I believe so.
Okay. Did at that time he ask for any?
For food, no.
Okay. How about for anything else?
I believe I told him that I make a good, strong cup of coffee, and we had a discussion about that, and eventually he did accept a cup of coffee.
Did you later make arrangements for him to be interviewed at Troop C?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Jen. And people are crazy. People are crazy. I hope they get the asshole. Oh, yeah.
Aw. Big hugs, Jen.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jen.
Yes.
Can you describe for us the location inside of Troop C where that interview occurred?
So there's several entrances to Troop C, which had been renovated not long before this incident. There, to the far left of the building, there is a garage door, and just to the right of that is an entrance. Just inside that entrance to the right is an interview room.
When you say an interview room, can you describe for us sort of how large that is? What's in there?
So it's probably an
Jen's friend got shot by her estranged baby daddy, and they had 4 kids. Savannah, I'm so sorry to hear that. 29 years old. People be crazy. People be crazy.
9 by 8 size room. It just has a round table with 3 chairs in one corner. In the opposite corner, it has a desk with an office chair and then a separate chair.
When you sat down to interview the defendant, Mr. Duren, who else was present, if anyone?
So Detective Horton, who works with me, eventually was present in the room as well.
This interview that you conducted of the defendant, Mr. Duren, was that audio and video recorded?
Yes.
Can you describe the manner in which that occurred?
Sure. So again, the barracks is newly renovated. We do not have an ideal recording system. So in this particular case, an audio recorder, just a handheld audio recorder, was placed in the room, and then I used my state-issued cell phone.
Jen, make sure to talk to someone. Make sure not try and figure it out on your own. If you can get some help from someone or reach out to someone, get someone to talk to. Stuff like this needs to be talked out. It's not good to go and have on the inside.
I agree.
No, Jen. It's absolutely fine. This is also why we're here. Sometimes bad things happen, and we need to talk a little bit about it. But I hope if you have like a hotline or you have a doctor you can call, contact them and get someone to talk to, because situations like this are horrible to battle on your own. So
And we're here for you. We're a little family.
yeah. It's it's not going to be easy, and nothing's going to be an easy fix, and everything be fine, and you'll wake up tomorrow and smile. But never ever be afraid to reach out and get some help, because in situations like this, because the shock you're in, you might not be aware of some things that other people could help you with if they get to talk to you. So yeah, it just shows you crazy is everywhere.
Sure is.
Whenever I talk to Europeans who say, "Oh, America is so crazy," it's just as crazy here, Canada, anywhere else on the planet, because mental illness is mental illness. But I hope everything is. Yeah, even James' dogs are supporting us.
Sorry to
to
ruin the
video
heartfelt
record
moment.
the interview.
Was the defendant,
Word.
or did
Yeah,
the
asshole
defendant
dogs.
consent to this interview being recorded?
He did.
Now, with respect to the interview itself, did you have any interruptions with respect to the recording?
One interruption was it's recording on my state cell or my cell phone. Not long into the interview, the cancellation of the Amber Alert, which is that loud, annoying sound that, the cancellation of that came through the phone, which turned off the video recording.
Okay, so there may be a snag or a delay when the video is playing, is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you reviewed the video and audio recording of this interview that you conducted with the defendant in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes,
Did you also review a copy of the transcript of that recording?
I did.
Showing you what's marked now for identification purposes only as State's Exhibit 27. Can you just take a quick look through that? And let me know if you recognize it.
I do.
What is that?
This is a transcript of the audio recording.
Jen, whenever you need to kick the hornet's nest just to get a little off your chest, always come in here. Just tell Sue that irregardless is not a word, and she'll take your mind off your trouble because she'll yell at you for the next 2 hours. Sometimes that works as well, just to change your brain waves to something else so you can come back later and see it with new eyes.
Now, with respect to the transcript and the audio recording, did you review those together in order to determine if they were fully accurate?
I did.
Okay, and can you tell us if there are any errors in the transcription?
There are some.
How would you classify those errors?
So there are occasions where I'm speaking, but the text is attributed to Detective Horton. There are also some other where the audio might not be totally perfect. For example, I say the word Keene, referring to Keene Police or the city of Keene, and the transcription says Keith. There's one other that I can think of where we had a conversation about racking around in a pistol, and it says whacking instead of racking.
Okay, so like some word changes, but the video and audio is accurate to what was said. Is
Yes.
that fair to say? Okay. Now, after you were in the room and you had, and I'm going to come grab that for you while I ask you the question, but after you were in the room and you had your cell phone set up and the recording was going,
Are they going to play that now? We're almost at.
about his Miranda rights?
I did.
No, it's almost 11. Sorry.
Explain for us what Miranda rights are.
So it's his rights to his right to speak to an attorney, his right to answer questions, his right to not answer questions, and just that he could stop answering questions at any time.
Fair to say that advisement we probably all heard on TV and Law and Order and all those other shows that just are everywhere?
Yes,
Okay. Now, when you conducted that procedure here, is it fair to say that you utilized a form?
I did.
Is that customary?
Yes. Doesn't have to be a form, but that's what I use.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm showing you what I've marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 25. Do you recognize that form?
I do.
What is it?
This is it's a State Police DSSP 105, New Hampshire State Police DSSP 105 form, which is a Miranda rights form.
Now, when you say DSSP 105, does every form within state police sort of have a number assigned to it?
It does.
And that's where the DSSP 105 is?
Yes.
Okay. But this is a form that you utilize to go over Miranda?
Yes.
In this particular form, do you recognize it in terms of being the Miranda form or waiver form that you went over with this defendant, Mr. Duren?
I do.
And is that a fair and accurate copy of the form as you completed it with Mr. Duren?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to strike the identification on States 25 and admit it into evidence as full.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to Exhibit 25, and it shall be considered a full exhibit.
Can you describe the process, and if you need the form back, let me know, but can you describe the process by which you provided Miranda to the defendant?
So I read each line, you know, for example, line 1 is you have the right to remain silent. Typically, I'll ask, in this case, I asked Mr. Duren, do you understand that right? He would say yes. I put a little check mark next to that, line 1. I would read line 2 and same thing. Then I do add a little bit where I explain, if you start answering questions and you decide for any reason you don't like a question or you don't want to answer a question, we can skip a question and move on, which he said he understood. And then I asked him to, so I write yes next to, do you understand these rights? And I asked him to initial that after I handed the form to him. And then I asked the second question, which is, understanding these rights, are you willing to answer questions? He said yes. I wrote yes, asked him to initial that, and then sign the form. And then Detective Horton signed the form as a witness to Mr. Duren signing.
Now, by signing the form, is that the defendant indicating that he understood his rights as they were read to him and that he was willing to speak with you?
Yes.
Now, in addition to signing, and without telling us what, if anything, was said, did the defendant make statements to you during this interview that confirmed that he understood his rights?
Yes.
After the Miranda process, did you continue speaking with this defendant?
I did.
Can you describe the manner in which this interview was conducted in terms of interview versus interrogation and how it began?
So Mr. Duren was, I formed the opinion shortly after meeting him at inside the King Cruiser that he was ready to talk to someone about what had happened. I would describe Mr. Duren as being very talkative that morning or afternoon. And he actually had some questions initially as well. And I had some questions that I was asked to ask about the children. So we started the conversation with basically answering Mr. Duren's questions.
Now, during the course of this interview, was the defendant again offered food and drink?
He had water and coffee before we started the interview, and I think we got him a sandwich after we finished.
If he had
What
asked for a
type of
sandwich
sandwich?
earlier, would you have provided that?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Was he
need to
allowed
know.
to take breaks or use the bathroom?
Yes. Yes and no, because he had used the bathroom before, and then we kind of gave him the we asked about using the bathroom before we concluded, and Mr. Duren actually decided, let's get through the questions and then use the bathroom.
During this interview, while you were speaking with Mr. Duren, what kind of tone of voice did you use?
Pretty much what I'm using right now.
It's not like the Memphis case.
Normal.
You're
my
done.
normal self.
You're MFing
What
done.
about Detective Horton? What kind of voice did he use?
Detective Horton is a little louder in general. He just speaks very loudly, but his normal voice,
Did anybody yell or scream at the defendant?
no.
Did at any point you use aggressive body language or aggressive gestures?
I don't believe so, no.
At any point was your service weapon involved?
No.
Now, who spoke
Only for
more
pistol
during this
whipping.
conversation, yourself or the defendant?
The defendant.
And who led the conversation, yourself or the defendant?
The defendant, but I tried very hard not to interrupt, but there were times where we had to kind of get the conversation back on track.
Now, following the interview of the defendant, was there a search warrant process that was conducted?
Yes.
Can you explain the purpose of that process?
So it's a search warrant, we call it a body warrant, so there's a collection of a number of evidence. The photo that is still on the screen, so there's a number of photographs taken to document injuries or the lack of injuries. Oops, I guess I'm not supposed to talk about that.
No, it's all right.
So we take some photos to document injuries, non-injuries, any evidence that might be on Mr. Duren at the time. There's swabs for different things. So a DNA swab would be basically a Q-tip that goes inside of his mouth to collect cells from inside of his cheek. There would be typically gunshot residue swab to his hands. There would be fingerprints, sometimes a collection of fingernails, sometimes a collection of hair, and essentially in the collection of his clothing.
Is that customary to every homicide investigation that you've worked?
Yes,
Now, in addition to collecting items from his physical person, were items of his personal property recovered?
I believe there were some items from the vehicle and some items from his person. I believe his wallet was one of those things.
Okay. Was his clothing also recovered?
His clothing was collected, yes.
And was a cellular phone recovered?
I believe so,
And you indicated that his wallet and identification cards were recovered?
yes.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm showing you what is marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 31 in this case. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
What is it?
It's a temporary New Hampshire driver's license.
Okay, is that a particular person's driver's license?
It's Mr. Duren's,
Okay, and was that recovered from him during this search process?
yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to strike the ID and admit State's Exhibit 31 into evidence.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to Exhibit 31, and it shall be considered a full exhibit.
Permission to publish.
Certainly.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I've placed State's Exhibit 31 up on the screen. You still have a copy with you. You also have a screen to look at. Does,
Oh, oh, that was a quick sidebar.
All set?
Sergeant McLaughlin,
All
with
set, excuse me, all
I
set,
apologize.
Counsel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sergeant McLaughlin, with respect to State's Exhibit 31, which is on the screen, on all the screens, as well as in front of you, does that driver's license indicate what Mr. Duren's height and weight are?
It does.
And what were those?
His height is 5'10", and his weight is 190 pounds.
That's around my size, Jamie.
You're 5'10".
I thought it was the weight that was going to be. I'll go for.
Oh.
Sergeant McLaughlin, before we publish or talk about further the
I don't know
report
how tall
to
I am.
show or
I'll have
have
us a
to
6
admit
foot.
the recording of the interview that you conducted, I have a few questions for you. During the time that the defendant was speaking with you, did he admit to you that he had shot and killed Caitlyn Naffziger?
Yes,
Did he tell you what hand he had used to fire the gun?
yes,
Which hand?
his right hand.
Did you ask the defendant whether Caitlyn was threatening to harm either him or their daughter at the time that he shot?
Yes,
What did he say?
no,
Did the
The victim was 5 feet tall.
defendant explain to you whether his action in shooting Caitlyn was done deliberately?
he said it was deliberate, yes.
Is it fair to say that the defendant told you that Caitlyn had crossed a line?
Yes,
Did he describe where Caitlyn was physically located when he shot her?
yes.
What did he say?
She was seated on a couch.
Did he tell you where on her body he had shot Caitlyn Naffziger?
Yes,
What did he say?
her head.
Sergeant McLaughlin, did he describe to you the path of travel that the bullet took?
Yes,
Is this the last witness?
If you recall, what did he say?
in one side and out the other, essentially.
Is it fair to say that he said it went straight through?
Yes,
Did the defendant tell you where his daughter Elowen was physically located when he fired the shot that killed Caitlyn Naffziger?
yes.
Where was Elowen located?
He had pulled Elowen away from Caitlyn and was holding her.
So at the time that the defendant fired the shot, he was holding Elowin.
Yes, my understanding.
Did he describe how Elowin reacted to the gunshot?
He described trying to shield her from seeing anything, and that Elowin kind of put her hands over her ears and said, ouch loud, or something loud.
Did the defendant tell you what his mindset was after he shot and killed Caitlyn?
He did.
What did he say?
He said that he knew that he was screwed, and that he performed well in stressful situations.
Both their kids has names that sounds like they're from Game of Thrones
Yeah.
or Middle Earth.
And then he talked about wanting to spend time with the kids before he wanted to turn himself in or have to be at the police station.
And very clear, did the defendant turn himself in this instance?
He did not.
To get them out there before they watch it so the jury will notice it, normally they'll do it after, or they'll stop him during and say, did he just say he knew he was screwed? Yeah, his last name is Duren. That's, isn't that Gimli's dad or something?
I'm showing you what is marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibits 26A and B. Can you take a look at those items? Do
Yes,
you recognize them?
I do.
What are they?
They are video recordings of the interview with Mr. Duren.
Okay. And have you reviewed these specific discs, 26A and B?
I have.
And do they contain the full contents of the interview?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to strike the ID as to these items and admit them as full. Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Approach again. And they forgot to turn the audio on. No, they just show the
10 minutes. The jury, I have some things I do have to discuss with the attorneys at this point in time, and so at this point, we will take another mid-morning break. I think it will probably be 10 minutes, and ready to proceed. My assumption is, I haven't asked this yet, but I'd like to do it for purposes of the record, Attorney Duran, that the video that you're proffering does contain redactions consistent with my order issued on October 10th.
It does, Your Honor. It also contains them consistent with the transcript that defense counsel utilized in requesting those redactions.
Okay, understood. And as part of, because I have not viewed the video as part of the state's foundation, I think it's fair to just explain to the jury that that there have been some redactions, and so if they see any skips, not to, I can certainly make an instruction to the jury that they are not to read anything into the skips. I can do that if anyone wishes, or I could just let it play. I can argue it either way. But we'll take that up when it comes. Attorney Kettles, with respect to the specific page, I do have the transcript in front of me.
Yes, Judge, I'd also like to have marked defense, or ID defense C, I think it might be useful for this discussion.
Okay.
This is a corrected transcript that was provided by the state. It's dated 1747. And on page 87.
87 original numbering?
no evidence of any of that.
It's 1833, line 15.
Because they have so many breaks in it.
Just to tighten up, it has the same quote I referenced earlier. Mr. Duren, could it be that I'm endangering Elwin by what I did? And I would very much say no. And just from that, even just my training, Sergeant McLaughlin, yeah, just to kind of tighten that up a little bit more, you're an expert marksman of some sort in competition, so it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwin. So the corrected transcript provided by the state, page 1833, on the transcript itself, page 87, lines 8 through 15, makes it clear that the question that was asked of Mr. Duren by Mr. Sergeant McLaughlin was, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwin, to which Mr. Duren responds, yes. My review of the subtitles on the CD that the state submitted is that it says, it's fair to say you were endangering Elwin. Answer, yes. So I think the context of the statement even before, as well as the corrected transcript, which I'm going to hand to the monitor, to Mark for ID, makes it clear that the subtitles the state has are incorrect on a core issue as to the charge of endangering the welfare of a minor, which is whether or not Mr. Duren said he knew he was endangering Elwin. In fact, he said he wasn't endangering Elwin. my concern is just, given that we know we have a transcript with errors, the detective testified that it has errors. I found one that is very substantive. We don't know that the rest of the subtitles will be accurate, and rather than have something be omitted, even if they were to submit an updated version that removes the error, I think that the jury should be allowed to hear the best evidence, hear the video itself, and decide for themselves what it contains. This is why we raised the issue generally previously. We have a specific and very substantive example now, and we have the witness's testimony that the transcript contains multiple errors. So to use the subtitles, it's I think, improper. The best evidence is the video. We need to make sure the jury gets accurate evidence as to core issues.
Your Honor, if I can just have one moment so that I can lay out for the court exactly the way that this has happened, because defense counsel utilized in their motion filed in, I think, September at this point, around the 25th, with respect to redactions for the transcript, they chose to utilize the original transcript that was provided. The state followed along with what defense was choosing to do. At the motions hearing on October 7th, defense counsel ostensibly derided the fact that the state had corrected the transcript, indicating that we had tried to correct it. And they chose which transcript to utilize. They have waited until today, despite the fact that they received these videos, knew exactly what transcript was being utilized because it was subject to the court order made on their motion. They waited until today to raise this issue, despite the fact that they have had these videos with the transcript attached since Friday the 17th, which is only 10 days, actually less than 10 days after the court ruled on the redactions. They were provided with them.
The defense is arguing that the video that they're going to show of the interrogation isn't cromulent because they want more stuff taken out, but apparently they already argued what they wanted taken out, and that has been taken out.
They have had them. They have known that today was coming. They did not raise this yesterday when no one was.
It's Thursday, the 23rd.
They have waited, and this is a strategic choice that they have made. At no time did the state choose which transcript to utilize. We, in fact, asked the detective to make sure it was accurate. Defense counsel complained that we corrected it. They didn't use it in their filing on September the 25th. They didn't argue it at the motions hearing on October 7th. They didn't ask the court to review it. With respect to the corrected transcript, they have had this for well over, and I'm trying to find the date, well over 6 months. This is not a surprise. There's been no effort to surprise defense. This has all been their choice. This court will advise the jury that the audio of the transcript in the interview, much as I said to the detective, the audio is the evidence. This court, I am sure, will advise this jury that the audio is the evidence and that any difference between the audio and the transcript is for them to decide. Your Honor, this is a strategic choice for the defense trying to gain an advantage. And the state objects to this entire process, but would indicate that this court has ruled on the defendant's request, has utilized the transcript the defense has requested, as has the state. And as such, the state believes this should be admitted, it should be played, and the court can give a limiting instruction.
Your Honor, we're neither accusing the state of doing this on purpose, nor is this an attempt to gain a strategic advantage. When the state opened on the quote, "You are endangering Elwyn," and the answer yes, that drew to the defense's attention that there was an error or discrepancy in what we believed the video showed. We did not know whether the state intended to introduce the video. In all of its pleadings, it said very clearly, and in email communication with us, we're not saying we're going to introduce these statements, but if we do, then here's what we'd like to discuss. The court's order said that any issues with the transcript, I believe the court's order said should be addressed at the time that the state seeks to admit the subtitles. And so again, the timing is not any kind of strategery here, nor are we saying that there was any purpose on the state's part. I'll note that it was the exhibit was produced less than a week ago. As the court knows, it's over a 2-hour interview with a 100-page transcript, and to note differences between different versions of transcripts when there's so many and such voluminous discovery, we learned of it when we learned of it, which is
Your Honor, the defense was provided with 2 copies of this transcript. An original copy, which was provided, I believe, in March of 2024 or April. The video itself was provided in March. The corrected transcript, I was in error. It wasn't 6 months ago. It was 11 months ago. Defense counsel has had this. They've had experience with this. It's 2 transcripts, Your Honor. We're not talking about multiple transcripts. We're talking about 2. Of total, the state provided 4 transcripts. 2 originals, 2 corrected. One of them is not at play here. One of them does not involve this defendant.
Attorney Duren, doesn't the issue fall within the scope of the limiting instruction that you've already asked as part of the motion to use transcript?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, for purposes of the record, I'm just going to briefly indicate that the court had indicated that it would allow the state to back up a step. There are redactions to the statement which the court has ruled upon. Some redactions that were requested some redactions were made by agreement of the parties. Some redactions were requested by the defendant, and the state objected, and I issued rulings with respect to those redactions. So that's the starting place. The next step is with respect to the transcript itself. The state requested the ability to use the transcript as part of the proceeding. My ruling was that I believed that the use of the transcript would assist the jury in perceiving the evidence. Specifically, when the state asked to use the transcript as part of the trial, my ruling of October 17th indicates granted with respect to the relief requested and as to the state's proposed use set forth in paragraph 6B, which is a simultaneous playing of the video and the transcript, and to use the vernacular, it would be similar to subtitles, like pressing closed caption on most modern TV technology.
On Thursdays, we do meal prep because if you want to lure him with your salami and surprise Kurt and his squammy, your white van better be effing swole. Why do you want to lure a guy, Brandon?
White van, yeah.
What's your wife's take on you luring guys in? This is a new scene of Brandon. We knew about him losing his V card to that Swedish au pair they had back in the 80s. We knew about his illness when he went to Thailand, and now a whole new side, a whole new life with majestic sausages. Yeah, the au pair that took the V card back in 1986 from Sweden, I believe.
That's not part of my order, that's my comment. The court deems a one-time use of the subtitles to be an acceptable aid to the jury's understanding and comprehension of the evidence being presented. Exact wording of the limiting instruction may be modified after consultation with counsel at the time that the video is played. In my perception and observation and ruling is that's what's happening right now. The proffered use of the video with simultaneous subtitles will only occur once during presentation of evidence and not during openings or closings, parentheses, to reduce any potential cumulative effect, close parentheses, and such version, meaning the version with subtitles, will not be allowed as an exhibit for the jury's consideration during deliberations. That was my pretrial ruling of 6 days ago. As part of granting the state's motion, the state had proffered a limiting instruction, which is currently on page 5 of the state's pleading dated October 14th, which at the top of the page, I will read that limiting instruction proposed by the state. Members of the jury, Exhibit X, and X is just a placeholder for what is now Exhibit 26B. Am I correct? Exhibit 26B, a recording will now be played. A transcript of that recording will be visible on the screen below the video recording. The transcript is not evidence. The transcript is intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand the contents of the recording to be. That means if you perceive a difference between the recording and the transcript, you must rely on the recording. I believe that Attorney Kettles has noted her observation of a difference in perspective as to what is said at the specific time. And as far as I'm concerned, that difference of a perception falls within the scope of the limiting instruction And that, again, I believe the court's limiting instruction says if you perceive a difference between the recording and the transcript, you must rely upon the recording. I think that's fair commentary or cross-examination for Attorney Kettles to bring up as part of the playing of the video during cross-examination of this particular witness, as well as any other comments, if there's any other perception as to any difference of opinion between the transcript and the perception of what is occurring on the video, that's fair commentary. I would also note that my pretrial ruling, again, was that the transcript itself would not be going into the evidence room, nor would the video which contains the subtitles, that the video with the subtitles will be played once, and that version of the video will not be going into the jury deliberation room, nor will a physical transcript. So I understand the concerns raised by the defense. I think they're well-founded concerns based upon, I haven't heard the video. So I'm making no preliminary finding of fact as to whether what Attorney Kettles says is accurate or inaccurate, but as an officer of the court whose credibility I don't question, if she says that there's a perception difference, I take her at her word for that. And so I think it's fair for her to argue that. I don't think it changes my ruling, and it doesn't change the limiting instruction, because this is exactly what I highlighted when I made my ruling on October 17th as it relates to the redactions, as it relates to the issue of the transcript. So as far as my ruling is concerned, it doesn't change my perception doesn't change my ruling as it relates to the playing of the video with the subtitles, and the limiting instruction will be granted, will be read to the jury. I think the limiting instruction is very important, and I think any perception between what is played on the video and the version of the transcript can be addressed as part of cross-examination. Attorney Kettles.
Just a couple more notes. I'll note that I don't think either party recognized this discrepancy, because I don't think the state would have opened with evidence that it knew to be incorrect. So the corrected transcript is one that I believe has been adopted by Sergeant McLaughlin. I don't believe the court or the state can allow evidence that is incorrect, that is false, to go to the jury. And so I believe that it would be appropriate to voir dire Detective McLaughlin about what he said. And if in fact he said, it wasn't, so it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen, then either the jury should not be allowed to read evidence that is false, which is an incorrect subtitle, or the limiting instruction should be updated to say there is an error in the subtitle. The actual correct statement is fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen. I think we have an issue here where what the state provided as the accurate statement is different than the evidence it seeks to admit.
I understand, and your reference to not allowing the evidence, your reference to that relates to the playing of it in real time, not opposed to anything going in the room, because I've already ruled the transcript's not going.
That's correct. It goes to the jury seeing false evidence.
Understood.
And so I would ask that we be able to voir dire Detective McLaughlin about what he believes he asked, and cross-examine him with the corrected transcript, so that if he does in fact say, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen, the jury is not getting false evidence.
Understood, and that they can be instructed so before the playing of the video.
Yes.
And Your Honor, I'm not sure what counsel is referring to as voir diring him, but they have adequate rights to cross-examination. The state has not done its examination of Sergeant McLaughlin, and as the court has already ruled, this transcript is not evidence. It's not going in. It's not staying with them. They're going to be told that the playing of the statement is the evidence.
Judge, it's going to be played for the jury. To say that things that don't go in are not evidence is akin to saying that testimony is not evidence. The state is now seeking to admit this evidence. It has an obligation to ensure it is not admitting evidence that is false. And so by voir dire, I simply mean question outside the presence of the jury so that the court can make an informed ruling and not allow the jury to hear false evidence.
I don't think it's false evidence as, I don't think it's, I understand the concern, Attorney Cattles. I don't think it's false evidence as it relates to the playing of the video when I'm also simultaneously instructing them that they, if there is a discrepancy, they are to consider the sound on the video as being primary and the transcript as being secondary. I will certainly entertain an instruction that indicates that I have been made aware, that the court has been made aware of an additional discrepancy, which will be an additional discrepancy between the transcript, between the subtitle and what you hear, and that will be addressed by counsel during their examination of the witness. And I think that's fair commentary. I think that's fair commentary that protects the defendant's rights consistent with my prior rulings. Attorney Duren, any position on what I just said?
No, Your Honor.
Again, the limiting instruction that has been proffered stresses that the audio is primary, and I'm willing to supplement the instruction with a specific reference. I think that the best way to handle it is for me to tell them that. They will realize that something that they're going to hear may be different than the subtitle, and then that can be addressed as part of cross-examination.
Making our continuing objection, Your Honor, there's just one additional point, which is that I don't believe that the exhibit with the subtitle should be a full exhibit because it's not going back to the juries. I think it should remain as I did.
The only reason it's being offered, Your Honor, as an exhibit for evidence purposes is so that it can be played. If it's ID only, it technically cannot be played, but it certainly can be withheld from the jury's deliberations.
Correct. I mean, the perception, I want to make sure I have the right exhibit numbers. With subtitles redacted, 26A will continue to be, 26A has been identified. 26A will continue to be considered ID. 26B, 26B is the one which has been agreed as a full exhibit. Am I correct?
Yes, Judge.
And so 26B will be allowed into the jury room. 26A will not be allowed into the jury room. And again, that is only with respect to a one-time viewing by the state, one-time production, playing by the state. If defense wants to play it further as part of cross-examination, they are certainly entitled to do so. My instruction to the state was that it would be a one-time playing. Defendant's continuing objection relative to the issue is noted with respect to the transcript and the subtitles. Again, my ruling is that the transcript and the subtitles themselves are not going into the jury deliberation room whatsoever.
Okay, chip, chop, chip. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get to it. This is taking forever.
I know, Sue. I feel the same way. It's like, why wasn't this already done? You've had it forever.
Yeah. Oh, well, we didn't think it was going to go in with the jury.
Blah, blah, blah.
Your Honor, I don't know if it's worth mentioning right now, but this is a 2-hour video. I don't know what the court wants to do in terms of starting it, breaking it in the middle for lunch, or how the court wants to handle scheduling of it. I think it's 2 hours, 6 minutes and some change.
I wasn't aware of how long it was. I know it was lengthy, and I have reviewed the transcript many times, but I wasn't sure how long it was. Council's preference relative to the,
I think a preference to start now, go for an hour, take a break. I think that will ensure we have full attention.
Oh my lord. You've been taking breaks all day.
Given the current time,
Yeah.
given the current time, I'm inclined to stop at 12:30, Attorney Duren, but I don't know where in that process, where we will be. But what we'll do is, based upon the defendant's position as just articulated by Attorney Kettles, what we'll do is we'll start the video at some point between 12:10 and 12:30. At some point in that range, Attorney Duran, whatever works for you from your presentation, we'll
I found a new
stop there.
house I need to go look
And,
at while we're just wasting time.
I will have a full hour for lunch.
At least I'm doing something with you.
Okay, so once again, I'm going to, my ruling is that the state can
Doesn't it look sweet, Jamie?
Let me see. Oh my God, that's so cute. Look at the little bushes. They're all trimmed all nice. I know, right, guys?
below
Ooh,
the
lots
video
of
recording.
like
The
natural light. I
transcript
love natural.
is not evidence. I'm gonna use the word subtitles. The subtitles are not evidence. The subtitles are intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand
Every
the
house in
contents of
Europe
the
is
recording to be. That means if you
different.
perceive a
Of course
difference
it's in
between the
Denmark.
recording and the subtitles, you must rely on the recording.
It just went
Further,
for sale.
the court has been made aware of another potential discrepancy
We're
between the
gonna
audio and
start
the
grifting hard.
subtitles.
I
The
need
discrepancy will
400,000,
be
Jamie.
addressed during cross-examination. Again, you are
So
to
I need to
consider
make
the audio you hear to
700,000
be the
in super
primary
chats.
source of the information you are to
Do it.
consider. Understanding the defendant's objection to the process, any issue with that specific limiting instruction?
It does have some flaws, but
Continuing
for
objection
that
noted.
price.
Okay, Attorney Duran, any issue with that?
There you go.
I do, Danny T.
I think it's a cool little house for a single guy.
Yeah. Look at all that pretty lighting. I love natural light, like big windows. Nothing worse than like a dark, dingy house.
No.
It's a cute little kitchen. And look at that little living room. Oh.
Well, that's another one I need to go look at. But it looks like it has a newer roof. Yes, guys, this is what I do when we're sitting here and thinking, can they just stop talking? I'm looking at that.
That's a lot of yard for you, though. I don't know.
Yeah, well, most of it, the bushes is just 2 times a year, and then the rest is Roberta, my soon to be bought.
Yeah, but that's so much space too. You could get a little doggy. Oh.
Yeah, there's enough room for a little doggy. Is that near Baby Baker? 6 minutes away from Baby Baker. So that's really, really close.
Perfect.
For all you Americans, all those walls and doors are solid wood, not made of paper like yours. The walls are most likely in this house is from 1961, so probably it's concrete walls.
Pretty good.
Was that the lanai of the bedroom? No, that it's a covered terrace, as we would call it in Denmark. So it's not quite a lanai, but you can walk. It looks like you can walk out onto the terrace from the bedroom. I don't know which way the sun hits it, but it's a nice little terrace where you can sit and have your. Oh, Jamie, it looks like they might have had a dog because there are carpets here. But you can have a grill. You can invite the neighbor over for a beer, and you can yell at the neighbor's kids for making noise.
Well, your neighbors aren't like super close, so that's nice.
Well, this is standard. We will call this a villa neighborhood in Denmark, and this is standard 60s, where you have a you have a little yard and then a bigger back garden, and the neighbors are like you can spit to your neighbor. But no, this I need to go and see that. Oh well, I told my daughter she needs to go see it, so she can tell me if I need to go see it. But it's a little more expensive than.
Oh yeah, have her do a drive-by and be like, because I have found that a lot of times these people make these pictures look a lot better than they are in person.
Yeah.
You go over there and you're like, this is not what I seen online.
I would love a poppers. What's that spot in the backyard? A former fire pit. Most likely, someone had a trampoline there, or the kids has been there and had like a what do you call it? Kiddie pool, but it's an estate. We call them death estates when it's someone who's passed away who's selling it. Hopefully that'll mean that it's just a family and they want some money out of it, and you'll go in and offer them 75,000 less than they asked for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love a terrace off the bedroom. It's nice in the summer to being able to open the doors. We don't have. Yeah. Don't do what? Do what? Yeah, doors have to have a certain density because of fire hazards. Don't sleep on it. Well, I need to. The financing is a little bit of a problem because of my fixed income. The bank won't borrow me money, and I'm sitting in more money than this house costs. But the problem will be that transition where I have to sell this one and get that one. So I'll have to figure out some way a bank will give me like a 3-4 month bridge loan because they're just idiots.
Yeah, it sounds like your guys' banks are.
Well, I might, if I can get my brother to co-sign or something like that, it might be different. But I don't want to have a mortgage in it either, so I have to pay every month because.
Oh, okay.
It'll be. If I can own it, then yeah, the money I can borrow in it if I need to fix stuff later. But I have the money to buy it for the price. It's for the asking price, but you're not going to give them the asking price. So
Yeah.
but it's one of those. What? Sorry.
I said you always shoot lower.
Yeah.
You never go in.
This is 450, and you'll probably try and get like 75 below and then end up 50 below. You need you always need something to work with, but I have to go. It looks like there might be some moisture in the walls in the basement and stuff like that, so I have to see how bad that is because that's a big old problem.
Mm-hmm.
Are homes expensive there? Where my daughter lives, it depends where you are in the state of them, but they can be both. It's really expensive to rent in that area because it's kind of a satellite to 3 bigger cities. But buying houses is cheaper because there's a lot of turnover. But again, the good thing about this house is it looks like the roof is pretty new, and they have that central heating that cities where you can get it from a big central heating place. So you that's the cheapest you can get in Denmark, and we use a lot of money on heat. I'm on natural gas, and since the war in Ukraine, my energy price is just killing me. So that would also leave a little bit of monies.
Yeah.
Can you take out a mortgage and then pay it off as soon as you sell your house? The problem is because I'm on a fixed income, my bank won't lend me money, even though I have equity that's way more than the money I'm going to borrow, because banks are idiots. So I have to talk to my brother.
That's terrible.
It's just stupid. Iris says basements are haunted.
She does. She hates my basement. She won't go down in it.
Well, Fedorowski, I was looking at something that costs 200,000 less than this, 150 less than this one, but you have to drive everywhere, and that's stupid as well, because that's another energy cost that you have to pay, and we pay for a quarter gallon. We pay the same as Americans pay for a gallon of gas. That's why we don't have big cars. Emspire, get some sleep. Is there an HOA? No. Roads like this, it's your house, it's your property, and it sometimes the road is a private road, so you'll have to chip in some money for keeping the sidewalks clean and stuff like that. But the city will still renovation and all of that. That's city. You'll just pay. There will be like some city contractor that you pay, and they'll come and collect your trash every 2 weeks, and paving the roads and all of that crap. That's city. We don't have HOAs like the one I live in is not common, but you would either live in an apartment, or when you buy a house like that, well, that's yours, and you can do whatever you want. Of course, the only thing is, like, if you change the roof and something like that, it can't reflect light into your neighbor's house. Remember when it was all the craze to have the tiles, the glazed tiles? I don't know if you ever had that in America. It was a big thing in the early 2000s to have glazed tiles, and there was a lot of reflection that went into neighbors' houses, and they fought a lot of battles over that. So the city will have some ordinance saying you can have this and you can have that. So it's just we can always dream.
I'm not really sure what glazed tiles are. I know people are doing metal roofs now, but I don't think those are reflective.
It looks like this one actually has a metal roof. So yeah. But I need to do it. Free from an HOA sounds fantastic. I could never deal with an HOA. HOAs, I'm in an HOA right now, and mine is not that bad, but there are some times where when we have the yearly meeting, you'll have these people who are, my rent is $2,000 less than I paid at my old apartment. It's really cheap. You pay a pretty high part. You pay a big entry fee for your part share of the HOA, but then you pay a very low monthly fee, so you have a low rent. We raised it $100 a month last year, and we almost had pitchforks going on.
God.
Well, you can't do that.
No. I don't live in an HOA, thank goodness. And yeah, I see the horror stories of people who do. But some people like it. I don't know.
Only problem with metal roof is blocked cell signals. Well, when you're in your house, you'll be on the Wi-Fi anyway. And most cities of a decent size like this one, well, decent size, it's only like 2,000 people, but still will have fiber internet. So it's going to be the same as here.
Fiber internet.
There's no hot tub, it seems like. It seems like a very small bathroom, but there are 4 disposable rooms in the basement because you can't use them for living because the fire escape isn't. So I'm going to make rooms down there.
First, I'm gonna go
That's
back to
just
the
stupid.
exhibit identification and striking.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, 80s. It's good to see you.
Is it wheelchair accessible? I'm not in a wheelchair. No, it looks like there's a lot of steps up. I don't want to be in your cult, Zach, because I know it's going to be a Smex cult, and I don't want to be a part of your Smex cult.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd trust a cult Zach starts.
No, it's going to be, it's going to be
Thank you. Please
Smex.
be seated. Sergeant, you're still under oath? You're still under oath?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Attorney Duren, my understanding is that you were submitting the exhibit for
I'm
admission.
going to do a toilet.
Yes,
Jimmy.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to strike the ID off of State's Exhibits 26A and 26B and move to admit them as full.
And
And Judge, in addition to the prior discussion, I would just note that no objection to the non-cited title version being admitted as full.
so the ID may be stricken with respect to 26B from defense perspective?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the ID shall be stricken with respect to Exhibit 26B, and I'm denying the state's request with respect to 26A as it relates to the inclusion as a full exhibit, but not for purposes of presentation.
Now, Sergeant McLaughlin, before we continue with respect to this, I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. Do you recall at what point you conducted a review of the transcript that you saw, State's Exhibit 27? At what point you conducted that review in order to determine if there were any typographical or other errors inside of the transcript?
I'd say it was over a year ago,
Okay.
close to a year ago.
And have you been able to look at your corrected version next to the version that was the original that you reviewed?
Briefly.
For lack of a better way to ask that question. I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit 32, which I've marked for identification purposes. Now, these are bait stamped pages. Try that again, Sergeant McLaughlin. I'm going to approach and show you what I've marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 32 for the record, bait stamp pages 1747 through 1919. Can you take a look at State's Exhibit 32 and tell me if you recognize it? You're welcome to take it down and walk through it if you need.
I recognize it as a transcribed portion of the audio recording.
Okay. And if you look at that exhibit in conjunction with State's 27, which you also have, can you take a look to see if there have been any corrections made? And maybe in order to assist you, I'll direct you to a specific page. If you can look at page 89 of both of those exhibits, and that would be the 89 at the top of the page, not the bait stamp number. I believe with respect to State's 27, that would be bait stamp number 478, and I cannot tell you with respect to the other at this time.
89 on both copies.
Yes. So beginning at the bottom of page 89 and moving into page 90, I apologize.
Okay.
Are there any corrections that you made on that page? If the answer is no, that's fine.
It looks like it's the same. At the bottom?
Okay, so no corrections?
Not that I'm seeing.
Perfect. Can you move to page 87 in both documents?
87, backwards?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to draw your attention what should be the middle of the page. Do you see any corrections to page 87 that show that there was an error in the original transcript?
In the middle of the page, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. May I approach?
Certainly.
Going to point you to lines 12 to 17, if you can read through those sections, and let me know if there is a difference in between those lines, between lines 12 and 17 on page 87.
Are we going page by page, seeing where the mistakes are?
Okay, yes, I see it now.
Okay, is there a place in the original transcript, not the one that you reviewed, where the person who listened to the audio heard, what did the person in the audio hear? Go ahead and tell us.
So there's, in one copy, it says the word were, and in the other copy is the word weren't.
Okay, and is the word were correct or the word weren't?
The correction I made was weren't.
Okay, and you based that correction on listening to the audio, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, you had been present, you heard the audio, and you looked at the transcript and saw that it was an error.
yes,
Okay, so the audio with respect to the statement that you took of the defendant, in that audio, does the defendant tell you that he knew that he was endangering his daughter at the time? Did you ask him that?
I did.
You asked him if he was endangering his daughter when he fired the shot, correct?
Correct.
What was the defendant's response?
So I asked him if he, so I'm not reading this, correct?
Tell us from your recollection.
Okay. So I asked him if Elwin was in danger when he fired the gun.
And what was his answer?
So I asked, I actually, I have to read this, I think, because I asked, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwin, and he said yes.
Okay.
So it's fair to say that he wasn't endangering Elwin.
Okay, but the transcript that is the original transcript to this audio, the word weren't came across as the word were, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but in all cases, just like you did, anyone listening to the audio should take the audio as the evidence, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Can we just play the video?
I know. Ugh.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would, pursuant with all the orders of this court and the court's indication, publish State's Exhibit 26A for the jury.
Okay. Members of the jury, Exhibit 26A, a recording will now be played. Subtitles for that recording will be visible on the screen below the video recording. The subtitles are not evidence. The subtitles are intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand the contents of the recording to be. That means if you perceive a difference between the recording and the subtitles, you must rely on the recording. The court has been made aware of a potential discrepancy between the audio and the subtitles. The discrepancy may be addressed during cross-examination. Again, you are to consider the audio you hear to be the primary source of the information you are to consider. Thank you.
Let's do it to it.
Jeez.
Can we hear something?
I hope so.
Your Honor, at this time, publishing State's Exhibit 26A.
1 hour now, 1 hour after lunch.
And one more question, Sergeant McLaughlin, before I go. I think we already asked you this, but because it's been a little bit, how long was the interview that you conducted with the defendant?
It's over 2 hours.
Okay, approximately 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
And based upon that answer, I'm going to tell the jury we will be taking a break for lunch during the viewing of the video.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, let me do this part first. And then I'll tell you who. So we'll start kind of like your priority, because we're going to try to answer your best questions as best I can, because I know it's going to be gazillion things they want to make. And then we'll kind of talk about here. Before we do anything else, water, coffee, good? So whatever you do, are you reading it and ask if you want to answer our questions and stuff? Okay?
Your Honor, your approach.
This is right to me, it's time.
Oh my Lord.
Approach for what? Just had half an hour. Oh, I forgot, Jamie. I forgot everything.
He's so angry. He's just clicking buttons.
But this is getting ridiculous. We just spent 30 minutes arguing over the video and the transcripts. Oh, you can't hear it. I'll try and boost it. If it's the same like the last time, I'm going to jump off a bridge or something like that. I'm just annoyed when we can't. This is important evidence, and we can't hear shit.
Yeah, audio is everything on this stuff. So.
Okay, members of the jury, it's my understanding that the audio is at the maximum level. Can you hear? Can the jury members hear? Let the record reflect that they're nodding yes. And if the audio will stay up as much as it can during the entire time.
Anything you say can use the issue of court. You have a right to talk to a lawyer for advice before a question, and to have one with you during a question. You understand that? If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. You understand that? Yes.
I have it boosted at 10. This is the highest I can boost it. So I can't do anything else to it. But I can hear it. There's subtitles on the screen. I'll make it as big as possible so you can follow along at home.
If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering questions. And I kind of like add a little bit to that on my own. If you decide to start talking to us and answering questions, and I ask you a question that you don't want to answer, but you kind of want to continue talking to us, just say, I don't want to answer. Fair enough. Do you understand agent threats? Yes. You're right, yes, next to this. And that's information what's happening. And understanding the threats that you willing to answer any questions. Yes, next to that. So yes, initial that. So just initial, sign in. It's so your girls are at Cheshire Medical, which is down here, affiliated with our men. And my understanding is that Caitlyn's aunt, Brenda, is assuming DC, so DC West in New Hampshire. You're from Minnesota, right? Yes. In New Hampshire, DC West is like the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. So they're kind of like CVS, whatever it is in Minnesota, Child Protection Services. So that at this point, they kind of like review everything. They actually have some questions that I want to ask you too. Just about myself and the department and stuff like that. They kind of step in because of what's going on. And then they always try to get the girls to some kind of thing, whether it's Patty, Minnesota, or Finny here in New Hampshire. Brenda is probably the closest, I would assume. So she's kind of been contacted or in contact with us. So that's kind of like plan A at this point, assuming DCOF is okay with everything. It sounds like Brenda will be kind of agree with the transition. Is that a good option for now?
For now. I guess how this goes, can I just ask questions whenever? Does that matter?
As we go. Yeah. Well, I'm very easy, as you probably figured out.
What I was going to ask, I guess, did someone contact the police? For how it happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Say who?
Well, yeah. So what happened was at like 4 a.m. this morning, on the camera or statewide, I would imagine, it will be up at 4 a.m. And that's somebody to be.
No, I meant,
Burning.
no, I meant, how did police know anything even happened?
Yeah, they don't know. The Berlin police went to the house and apartment, and that's from there. I don't know how they got home from other neighbors.
Well,
But I mean,
yeah, I was asking for a reason, but.
yeah.
I guess I'll say, for just family, kind of one of the things was I want to make sure that my mom was aware. That was my preference. So I just wanted to make sure that my mom knew that the kids were here.
Where's your mom?
She's amazing.
It's 2024. I couldn't tell you if I'm going off the top of my head. You know that? Is it in your phone?
It's in my phone, yeah.
Where is your phone? TV.
Right at the scene.
What's your mom's name? D-E-O-R-A-H?
D-E-R-A.
Same last name? So, do the kids have a primary care in New Hampshire? Yeah.
No, I literally, I was supposed to have a phone call today.
What hospital? Or where?
Because well, we'll probably get into this because I'm assuming they don't want like the entire walkthrough. We lived in Nevada before here.
Minnesota, Nevada, and New Hampshire.
So Minnesota, well, Minnesota was never really in the picture. I've been in Nevada, I mean, it's in the picture, I guess, I should say. We've been in Nevada for the past, well, she was in Nevada, and, well, all of us were in Nevada for the past 4 to 5 years. But I lived there before that.
Okay.
And then, I guess we can get into all the details, but anyways, the kids had Medicaid there. And so what I was doing here was trying to do, so I had to cancel the Medicaid in Nevada, and then I had a phone call for them getting Medicaid here today, but obviously.
Kids born in Nevada? Both?
The Evelyn, the 4-year-old, was actually born in Minnesota, but then left when she came in, she was 6 months, about 6 months. And they lived the 1-year-old.
Is it different names? What's the background of the names? Yeah. What about, does there mean? Just like,
there's not really,
just like names. They're different names. They're very different. I like them both. How about like any health concerns with girls? So because of what happened, because of the way the girls came to the hospital, there was a lot of questions. I think the highlight questions are: do they have any injuries that you're aware of? Any poisoning, access, anything like that? Okay, totally healthy starting. How about like allergies? Anything else like that? Do that? Anything you concerned about? Totally healthy. What did they order at the restaurant? Did you get the order?
Oh, they were, okay, I can't remember. Was it you that came to the door? Well, no. Oh, no. I guess.
I'm sure they've eaten by now. And I offer you food, but
yeah, and they, yeah, I mean, they had been eating, this was more so, I mean, you're probably going to more detail on it, but, because I was actually already in New York, but I turned around because I didn't want to, I ended up deciding that I wanted to, take a surrender here in Hampshire. And then, yeah, then I thought I'll try to eat breakfast. I was actually really hungry.
so
Somehow, I didn't notice when I tried to eat, and I was like, I saw the Chili's, and then I saw the police department right there, and I was like, I go to Chili's, and like, he's sitting right there. My hope was that what I wanted to do, which I will say, everything was very professional. So I'm very appreciative of that overall. Because I just didn't want to get caught like what happened, because I didn't want anything crazy to happen to kids. I wanted to kind of walk in and be like, hey, here's the kids, like, we've seen the kids.
it worked out okay, yes.
Yes, I mean, obviously my biggest thing is that I didn't actually, like, well, we did the personality, but I had to, whatever, say, yeah, I was like, let's just,
So you know a lot more about what's going on so I apologize for that, but it's you in control. So we started to kind of talk a little bit, and I was saying that I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're probably you should know this already, you know questions. My day kind of changed a little bit after COVID happens. But I was going to ask, both Elowen and Valen are your daughters, but also Caitlyn's mom. That was my question. When did you move to?
So I got here 25. And specifically, it's just because that's what works for the budget. When I was working, I got basically I got hooked up with the place. And that's just what worked out. I don't know if you're gonna want to hold me up. I don't know how.
Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you.
Because apparently, because we had done it out on the side, I brothers and on the side of the street. So,
That's very good. Well, let's start with moving in.
so a couple of years ago, she had been talking about how she didn't want to be in that. And I actually love that idea of but I said, I said, okay, then where do we convince me on what place, what place would be and she here in Hampshire, so that's what she talked about, and just for
To me, it only seems like he want to stay in the desert. That's what I've gotten so far. I don't know what's happening.
yeah. So this got brought up and it started catching my attention. And then like as we were kind of just several different states where I go to that kind of idea and Hampshire. And then from there on, it's a little bit of tangent, but if you want, I'm sure it's so then we had agreed, okay, New Hampshire. And then, so we were kind of fully prepared. This was, so our lease was up in July or August of just this past year, 23. And so the lease was up. And then when we started getting pods shipped to get all our stuff right to Hampshire, then she decided, without telling me, that she ordered her own pods and then got our stuff and shipped them to me. And so I guess, because I guess I should say, I should be clear on this, that prior to that happening, of her ordering her own pods, she took pretty much 90% of the floor. So prior to that happening, like we had problems, but that was like legitimately the first time I yelled at her. I feel like that's kind of two different pages. But so like even if we had issues, it was I'm very big on always been very strong with raising kids. So with all the problems, I was trying to just say, okay, it doesn't matter. I just suck up my pride and it's for the kids. So this is not anything new. But anyways. So anyways, that happened to where, so all our stuff went to Minnesota, and I obviously, the plan was to go to New Hampshire, and that was without her saying anything. The moment I knew was when the pods, like, were actually there, and that was when I confirmed out about this, and then, shortly after, she took our 1-year-old without me knowing. She didn't say anything. She took the stroller when she was going to the park because nearby, which was the kids. We go to the park all the time. And so she took the stroller and just left when she walked in the park. I didn't think too much of it, but then it was like several hours later and they hadn't returned, and so I got into the park and they weren't there, and then I was trying to call and let what is going on, and she was at the airport already. They were going home and bringing to Minnesota, and I ended up like driving to the airport trying to be like, yo, what is going on? And I called like my parents, I called her parents. And this would be common in conversations, but I've always tried to stay very, I tried to keep everyone informed, so like my family and her family. So when that happened, I talked to my parents, I talked to her parents, and like, what is going on? I regret not just staying in Nevada. I know that was my first mistake, because if I just stayed in Nevada and had been talking to other family lawyers, I kind of lost power because I followed her to Minnesota. I ended up talking to her family and my family, and everyone kind of convinced me that, you know, I'd like to keep the kids together, because I saw that happen. Basically, like, you just keep the kids together. Just come back to Minnesota, we're all here, and then you can figure stuff out, and then you can continue on to just come back here. I guess I just, as a clarification of how, like, I had no idea that she left the program at the time. All of her stuff was still, I kept telling the picture, all of her stuff was still everywhere all the time. So she didn't even take anything, she didn't move anything, she just, so anyways, I followed to Minnesota. I tried to make things work. There was a lot of fighting. She was very aggressive about, she's the mom, and she has all the rights. And so it was getting to a point to where she was deciding to keep the kids away from me. And got into a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to talk to you about that. Where, again, I'm so aware. But they're kind of explaining, like, the UCC, however, I just, that's what I'm saying. She had kids, and I'll let me see that. I finally had continue the routine management. And she agreed, and this was in, I don't remember the exact date, probably finish, it's probably around 2 years, but all the texts and phone calls and stuff like that, I'm sure that we can go through this, and it's kind of verified, rather than announce the name specifically with when we met, or something, texts, but it was October something. Well, part of that was agreeing that, well, okay, we're in Minnesota, and there's politics going on, so it's Thanksgiving, his birthday is December 2nd, there's Christmas, and we have a birthday, and it's January 7th. So we agreed, okay, we'll stay here then until we have a birthday, and then we'll continue on to agreed upon, and things were okay, not that we were necessarily like having conversations. We were still in 2 separate places in Minnesota, but twice a week I would drive. I guess that's what we're trying to talk about, but I was in the northern area of Minnesota, and she was in the southern area. But twice a week I was fine with driving down, like dropping off the kids, or just driving back and forth. So we had a setup that is manageable. And then once the time came, I drove out here, so that was something that I was very was that I was going to drive out with which was said my girlfriend and she was fantastic. I was not very good, but she was fantastic. So I felt more confident. So it was that weekend, I don't remember the exact days, but it was the weekend after January 17th. So anyways, that's when I took Ellen here to New Hampshire.
Is the audio getting worse? It's just.
I can't read. I'm just listening to him, and it sounds like he's just whispering, and I can't barely hear anything. So
Yeah, and it's. I don't. I don't know where he's going with anything. I don't want to stay with her, and she was a bad mom, and I went and stayed with somebody.
yeah,
I really maybe it's because it's so hard to hear with all the whispering, and I'm trying to read along. And normally, because in Denmark we don't translate movies and stuff like that, so I'm used to reading along. But it's just that
yeah.
it's really hard to focus because you're trying to focus on his speech and you can't hear that. Then you try to focus on the text, and then you just have that incessant. We should just let the kids watch it for 2 hours and then give us a transcript.
Yeah.
I know it's the clock. It's the clock, and it's annoying me. Yet, to me, it sounds like he has premeditation in all of this. Because they had been in a bad place for a long time. So, and it just seems like it snapped and he had to unalive her.
I think he was just mad because he was
She was a
pissed
bad
at her.
mom.
And yeah, like he wanted his kids, and she was like giving him, irritating him, and I think he wanted to take her out.
Yeah, he liked the desert, and she said, "Let me take you to the least desert part in America."
Yeah.
So the drive's great, got to New Hampshire, got the spot, secured. So we got to get
the time is 12:15, and this might be a good place to stop.
Okay. All right, so we will continue with the playing of the video after the lunch break. We'll suspend here for the lunch break. Members of the jury, once again, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Please conduct no research or transmit any information about the case to anyone else. And again, if you do run into anybody at any place in Lancaster during the lunch break, please don't take offense if they don't speak to you at all. We will resume at 1:15. Okay, thank you.
All right.
1:15. Yeah, they're using that technique where he just gets to talk himself into a prison cell,
Yeah.
instead of trying to entice him to say something. I think they did. I like that better than the screaming. You're gonna eat a lot of dicks for the next 50 years.
Mhm.
Funny
I
enough, that's
agree. I don't agree with that, but I agree that like he just got mad and
like Booth says, he got angry and Kabamo, and again with the placement of the entry exit wounds, it doesn't seem like a struggle or I am trying to avert an attack. It seems like he just went up and boom, I don't want to listen to you anymore.
yeah,
And
sounds like
even
he was mad. He wanted his kids back. He wanted her just to stop bothering him, and boom.
yeah, and even though there might have been some nagging, it's still not okay, guys. I know a lot of you are sitting out there and saying, well, it does say to death do us part, but it's still not okay. Still not okay. But an hour and I don't know how much more of this after lunch. I was hoping that we would get some good audio. No, the nagging adds a mitigating factor, because nagging is a mitigating factor. Well, she was sitting down, crispy. So. But Jamie, it's almost 6:30. I need some food. You need some food, and we all need a little bit away from that.
Yeah, we need
So
a
go
breather.
make yourself some dinner. Go make yourself some lunch. I'm gonna kick you over to this afternoon stream. I think if you had just let her frolic, a lot of their problems could have been saved. But again, you can't frolic in New Hampshire because the beaches are not frolicable most of the year.
Yeah, and take her to court. Get it all taken care of. Didn't have to
No,
offer.
I can't turn on the chat, but I can make sure that I don't pull them up. But and I can't remove the watermark. But I'll keep the chats off for the afternoon, Holly. Jamie,
Oh my God.
we'll be back in about an hour.
Okay.